Hey everybody, it's Marisa Murgatroyd. I can't tell you how excited I am to be here with you today. So it's the last day of the Online Business Superhero Summit. I can hardly believe it. We're exhausted over here. I've got Murray in the corner. We're kind of the last two superheroes standing, and we're just thrilled that you came out to see me live on this session. I've honestly been working for weeks to get this new training together for you, and I'm really, really excited to share it with you. I've got so much to share. I really wanted to come out with something new for you all, okay? So I've never shared this before publicly. I'm a little bit nervous, so wish me luck. And before I get started, I just wanted to do a little bit of housekeeping, let you know how you can interact with us today. I know you've been to a few of these probably, but in case this is your first one, as you know, we do live streaming Google Hangouts on air. So basically, that depends on you having a consistent internet connection. If you've got any kind of blip in your broadband, the audio may freeze, the video may freeze, so just refresh your browser. And that usually solves the problem. And if for whatever reason you can't get your audio and video to cooperate today, we will be posting a replay on this page at the end of my presentation. But we definitely want you to stick around live. We've got some kind of bonuses and goodies and gifts for a live audience, and I'd love to hear your questions, get your input, really interact with you today, okay? So that's why we've actually installed a live chat box to the right of this video. And just log in with whatever social network you want to and start commenting away. I can see some of you have already said where you're coming in from. And if you haven't taken a moment to say hi and just let me know where you're coming in from, I'd appreciate it. I love kind of seeing familiar names and faces and my students and all kinds of people who've been in our community for a long time coming out. It makes me want to give my best, even though I feel a little bit nervous. So today we've got Phyllis Benson in the chat room to support you, and everybody thank Phyllis. She kind of stepped in last moment, and I really appreciate her. And I also wanted to remind you that it's the last day to get the Online Business Superhero Pack for a special in-summit price of $147. If you've been to a summit before, you know that the price goes up to $297 after the summit is over. And also, we can't offer the bonus tickets to Lisa Sasovich's live Ultimate Sales Bootcamp and Don Crowther's Online Profit Summit after the event is over. So if you want those bonus tickets, if you want to see Don or Lisa live, grab the pack now, because today is the last day, and then it's not going to be, those bonuses aren't going to be available. So just scroll down the page below this video, and you can see an orange Add to Cart button, and that's going to give you lifetime access to all 10 of the trainings that have been on the summit, including all the downloadable audios and videos and transcripts. So finally, today is the day. I feel like I want to do a drum roll, but I'll probably knock something loose, so I'm not going to do it. But today is the day where we're going to be announcing the winners of the Online Business Superhero Contest. Yay! And Tanya Kersey is not competing this year, so everybody else has a chance to win, since she's been moderating in the chat as her alter ego, Foxy Brown. So remember, you do have to be here on the line live to win. And if you're one of our top 10 finalists as of Wednesday, we did email you letting you know. So you've got a really good chance, and not all the winners are going to show up. So you might be able to kind of sneak into third place just by being here on the line today. All right, so you guys ready to get started? You want to do this? All right, I'm ready to. So what I'm going to be talking about today is something I'm incredibly excited about. It's a subject that's super near and dear to my heart, because over the last few years, I've had the honor of supporting literally thousands of students in building their online businesses. I've supported thousands of coaches and consultants and lawyers and doctors and creators and authors and speakers and professionals of all colors and stripes and shapes and sizes, and the list just goes on. So every day I'm on the phone with them, I'm on Facebook with them, we're in the trenches together, and I'm listening to their ideas, I'm looking at their websites, I'm finding the biggest problems that are keeping them stuck, and identifying the handful of tweaks they can make to turn their website from a liability into an asset. Things that are really gonna simplify their lives, allowing them to get their message out, to reach more people, and transform lives with what they do on a massive scale. And that's really what it's all about here, isn't it? So my goal in this training is to remove the barriers that are keeping you from building a thriving online business, and to show you how easy it can be. So I'm going to share some of the biggest mistakes that I've made and the lessons I've learned from living and breathing this stuff over the last 3 years. I want to break it down for you to make it really possible for you to break through, regardless of where you are in your business right now or what kind of technical expertise or background you've got. So imagine for a moment the peace and calm and confidence that will come over you when you know that your site is working to build your business every day. How cool will it be when your website begins to convert visitors into subscribers and fans and customers and cash flow at a much higher rate than before, pretty much on autopilot without your involvement? How cool will it be when every time you post new content, you see this rush of engagement, which means new people naturally start to discover you through social media and search engines and referrals. So I've watched some of my students really 10x their engagement and their opt-ins and their sales simply by replacing what doesn't work with what does. Kind of funny how that works, right? And I'm going to switch over to slides here, so just give me a second to do that so we can really begin. All right. So now we're, oops, wrong button. It's hard to manage it all when you're talking too. Okay, there you go. So what I'm about to give you in this presentation are 11 of my best performing, field-tested marketing design and copy tweaks that you can make to your site right away. And if you do them, I guarantee that they'll change your business forever. So we may not get through all 11 of these. It all depends on how deep you want me to go with what I teach. If you want to go really deep, then we might get through less topics, and I like to go deep. So that's why I'd like to ask you to really tell me which of these 11 topics would be most valuable to you and where you are in your business right now. I really don't want to waste time covering a topic that you're just not that interested in. So what I've done is I've put on the screen a slide with all 11 topics. So just have a look and let me know in the chat box which one of them calls out the most to you. So just give me one to start with and we'll get rolling from there. So while you're looking and deciding and typing your vote into the chat box, I just wanted to take a second and recognize you for coming out here today. You've taken the huge step of committing, your personal time to be here. And what that tells me is that you're serious about improving your website and your business. After all, your time is the one thing that you can't get back. Once it's spent, it's gone. So that to me is the difference between most business owners and the kind of entrepreneurs that I love to work with. People with incredible passion and commitment and drive to actually do what it takes to get their message out into people's ears and brains and hearts so they can make a living doing what they love while making the world a better place. And here's the thing that drives me to do what I do. As I work with more and more people like you, and as I see all of the passion and drive and expertise and talent that they've got inside of them, it's clear that translating, no slides, hold on. Let me try that one more time. So, hold on a second. All right, it should be on slides. Any thoughts? I'm letterboxed on slides.
Okay, I'm going to have to go.
So, Phyllis, let me know if there's anything else that, let me know if we've got slides now. So what I was saying, as I'm working with a lot of people and I see all of their passion and drive and all this stuff they've got hiding inside of them, it's clear that translating all of that into a successful website and online business, it's not natural. It's not obvious at all to most people. In fact, it's a completely different skill that just doesn't come naturally to 99% of people. When it comes to the mechanics, of really having an online business, all the technology and all the choices that you need to make, all those moving pieces that need to combine together properly, things like websites and landing pages and logos and squeeze pages and autoresponders, shopping carts, headlines, you name it. I've seen how easy it can be to get totally spun and confused by it all. I know firsthand how quickly people begin to feel powerless and disempowered to move forward because they might be concerned that they'll make the wrong decision, hire the wrong person, buy the wrong tools, or waste time and money going in the wrong direction. So there's nothing worse than that awful feeling of overwhelm that can result in losing connection with why you're even doing this to begin with. And you know the feeling. And when it hits you, it's hard to devote yourself fully to what you love, to sharing your knowledge and expertise and gifts with the world. You know what? I get that. This is your important work. This is what you're most passionate about. You want to feel confident that you're making all the right moves now so that in a year or 2 years from now, you've got a thriving business. You're able to work the hours that you want. You can charge what you're worth, and you're recognized as a leader. That's why I wanted to give this brand new training today, to really demystify all this web stuff once and for all and completely remove the obstacles keeping you back from having the kind of business and impact that you imagined when you first got started, before you got bogged down by all the details and mechanics. So I'm just looking, I think we've got the slides working, so I just wanted to make sure. So I'm going to give you another minute to really let me know what you want since the slides didn't show up right away, but who am I to teach you about all this stuff? After all, 3 years ago, I had a day job. We've been building this business for just 3 years, starting from nothing. And in those 3 years, our business has tripled twice, doubled this year, and we're on track to break $1 million before the end of the year. So in those same 3 years, we went from no list to over 30,000 subscribers. And now we can touch the lives of so many more people, like what we've been doing here on the summit. So what's the reason for all this success? I can honestly say that it's because we started doing the stuff that I'm going to teach you today right out of the gate. Basically we got a lot of things right immediately. And because of that, people took notice. I think you can agree that our stuff just looks and sounds and works better than most people in the industry. Because we care. We're committed to delivering an extraordinary experience for our audience in everything we do. But did we get everything right? No, of course we didn't. We definitely didn't have everything all figured out, and we screwed up a bunch of things. So in this presentation, I'm also going to be sharing some of the biggest mistakes that we made along the way, so you don't make them too. So if it's okay with you, let's dive in. I want to spend the next hour demystifying all this online business stuff so it's not so confusing and painful for you anymore. I want to share the cutting-edge strategies that we've discovered through our web and branding agency as we worked hand in hand with our premium $50,000 clients, leading entrepreneurs in the field of personal development, business, law, relationships, and spirituality. And I also want to share some of the mistakes that we've made that have cost us a lot of time, money, and opportunity, so you can shortcut that learning curve. Make sure you close any distractions during this presentation because this is going to need your full focus. Everything I'm about to show you is brand new stuff, not stuff from last year or even 6 months ago, because the web changes pretty fast. These are going to be strategies that you can implement quickly and easily in your business, and at the end, I'll give you some resources for how to get it all done for you if you just want someone else to make it happen for you. All right, Murray, so what do we have coming into the chat box? What are people interested in learning about and fixing first?
Okay, from what I can see in the chat box, the definite favorite is design, do's, and don'ts. So I think let's just go straight to that one.
All right, thank you to the amazing Vanna White over here, my husband Neo. Murray, we call him Neo sometimes, master of the code, and he's been an amazing support during this summit, so thank you, Murray. All right, so design do's and don'ts. Well, design is basically just about making things look good and sound good, so people take action, so they sign up and buy. It's one of my superpowers, and it's one of my favorite things to talk about for a couple important reasons. First of all, good design, it allows you to get noticed. It attracts your audience and instantly differentiates you from everybody else out there who does what you do. In a world with over 644 million active websites competing for smaller and smaller pieces of attention, that's pretty important. Your ability to get quickly noticed and attract your audience is absolutely critical to your success. But the second reason I like to talk about the role graphic design plays on your website is because, very few people, even designers, really understand what it's all about. Because they don't get it, they can't design effective websites. They may be able to design pretty websites, but they can't design websites that actually build your business. And there's a big difference. Most people think of design as art or ornamentation. The process of making things look good. But design is really the art and science of guiding attention where you want it. So you can turn visitors into subscribers, fans, and clients on every single page of your site. And if you do that well, for you to convert a lot of visitors into subscribers and clients, for you to really lead your audience, you need to be able to grab and hold and guide their attention. But there's a problem. There's a super powerful force that's getting in the way of your audience's attention. Can anyone guess what it is? Can anyone guess what steals attention more than anything else? Anyone? All right, let me see. You got it. Distraction. And distraction happens when you draw attention to things that just aren't important, or you accidentally pull focus away from what you really want to emphasize. And it's super easy to distract people. It's really easy to lose new visitors to your website before they've had a chance to do anything. Because distraction is a more natural state for most people than focus. It's much easier to distract people than it is to focus and hold their attention. Just like it takes effort and discipline to keep a room clean, it also takes effort and discipline to use graphic design in a way that guides attention and inspires action. So that's why Apple is so famous for their minimal designs. If you get an Apple product in the mail, the only thing on the product packaging is a picture of the product itself and the Apple logo, of course. So Apple products speak for themselves without the need for lots of text. So let me give you a few practical examples of how web design can inadvertently distract attention and reduce conversion, so you know what not to do. And these are examples, I gotta tell you, that kind of surprised me. And they really help me understand just how easy it is to distract your audience. So here's an example from our Social Media Superhero Summit website. We spent a whole bunch of time drawing these amazing superhero characters for our presenters, and I really wanted to incorporate them into the website. So my idea was to put them right there in the navigation, to the left and to the right of our Summit logo, as you can see on the screen. It looked awesome. Won't you agree? But then, here's where the surprising thing came in. When we actually split tested this navigation against a simpler navigation with no characters, we realized that the simple nav outperformed the version with the characters. The simple nav resulted in more sales of our superhero pack and more clicks through the website. So I'm seeing that they're not seeing the slides. I think it's just a little bit of a delay. So there's, streaming live videos, there might be a little bit of a delay between the sound and the visual, but we're doing our best here. So we were so completely blindsided by our cool design that we had accidentally drawn attention to the top of our website rather than the rest of the page, which is where we really wanted our visitors to go. Oftentimes when it comes to design, the simpler, the better. All those extra design flourishes can be really cool looking, but they often distract from what you really want people to look at. So yeah, I'm showing that it's not progressing either. Okay, sorry, we're just seeing an issue with the slides. We've been kind of going through all of these slides for a little while, and they haven't changed for you. So let me just fix that issue, and then we'll go right back here. So 1 second. Sorry about this. It's a lot harder to, be in front of the camera and be presenting and kind of manage all this stuff behind the scenes than it is to be, on the other side, just hosting. It's a lot easier to host.
Should we start with Superhero Summit again?
Yeah, so let me just quickly show you that Superhero Summit navigation that we were talking about a second ago. So, all right, so that's the navigation we originally had. It was, yes, there you go. That's the navigation that we originally had. And it looked really, really good, but actually it was distracting people from the conversion that we wanted them to take, kind of big time, okay? So we were completely just we loved our design so much that we were just, pulling attention to the top of our website. We're drawing attention to the navigation rather than the rest of the page, which is where we really wanted our visitors to go. So oftentimes, when it comes to design, the simpler, the better. All those extra design flourishes can be really cool looking, but they often distract from what you really want people to look at. So let me give you another kind of surprising example from our Social Media Superhero Summit. So on the screen, you can see the first version of our Social Media Playbook squeeze page. Looks great, right? So what's the problem? If you look closely, you'll notice the bottom of the playbook graphic is bright orange. It matches the bright orange download your ebook button. So it was actually competing with the button and reducing opt-ins by a lot. So we updated this landing page with a new version of the playbook that had this gray band on the bottom instead of orange, and we saw a nice lift in conversions. You'll also notice that the page background and other colors on the site were all really different from the button color. So we deliberately made everything else kind of monochrome, so the button would stand out. You want to use a distinct button color, such as orange or gold, and make your button the only instance of that color within eyeshot. That way, you're training people to click the button every time they see that shade of orange. So my friend Alicia Dunham, I want to show you what happens when you don't do this. My friend Alicia Dunham's recently launched this beautiful new website. And on first glance, it looks awesome. But here's the problem. Just in the top 500 pixels, her gold Get Started Now button is competing with 3 other big splashes of yellow on the page. You've got the home button, you've got her logo, and you've got her shirt. So what happens is her visitors' eyes bounce around between these 4 splashes of a color, and that takes them away from opting in. It takes their focus away from that Get Started Now button. Then, to make matters even worse, right below the opt-in, Alicia has a series of scrolling media logos which distracts even more from her opt-in. So the eye is uniquely designed to pick up on two things: contrast and movement. Contrast is how we as a species survived in our hunter-gatherer days. The ability to see contrast enabled us to find food in a meadow of similar-looking plants. And the ability to see movement allows us to avoid getting eaten, by some big predators, by saber-toothed lions and things like that. So on Alicia's design, you quickly pay more attention to the moving logos than you do to the opt-in. We're just hardwired that way. And so I really hope you're starting to see just how easy it is to really distract your visitors' attention by adding unnecessary design elements. So one of the things that I've had to learn the hard way is that good-looking design isn't always the same thing as high-performing design. In fact, there are a few things that work really, really well from a conversion standpoint that every designer that I've ever worked with not only hates to do, but actively resists. So if you're working with a designer who doesn't get marketing and conversion, then you have to actively guide them to break out of their comfort zones. So most designers, they value harmony and balance and integrity in the design. But sometimes, effective design, it's got to break that harmony in order to really draw attention. So here's an example of what I mean. This is a website that we designed for superhero Alexis Neely. So you'll notice that we've got 4 hand-drawn arrows pointing into the main opt-in button. You can't miss this button on the page. So hand-drawn visual prompts such as arrows or accent fonts that can really help guide attention, since they stand out from all the crisper headlines and body fonts chosen for readability, as well as the more consistent geometrical shapes on the page. Well, remember, the eye sees what's different first. If these arrows are a little too in your face, don't worry. You can actually use the same technique in a more subtle way. So you can do these things in a way that feels good to you. So we use thin gray arrows on our message to money sales page to really keep people progressing down the page, from section to section to section, and it works. Especially when you've got a long form sales letter and you want your prospects to keep scrolling down the page or just any long page of text. So you can also break up sections in solid boxes or thick lines, which actually can stop the movement of your eye down the page, can stop people from browsing your site if you don't break them up, by adding a little arrow wedge pointing down into the section that you want to call attention to. This kind of subtle cue helps draw attention exactly where you want it to go. Another way to break boxes and call attention to a specific section of your website is by using a cutout graphic that sticks up out of a box or section, like this example on the screen. Now, the other thing that you're going to notice in this example is that there's a lot of open space above and below the call to action section. So this spaciousness actually focuses more attention on our content. A lot of times when sites are cramped or cluttered, it's hard to know where to look. You can't really pick out anything specific, so your eye, it just bounces around the page rather than really focusing in on something. So it's space, empty space, that allows us to really differentiate one section or object from the next. So think about it this way. Imagine you're standing in Grand Central Station. There are people everywhere. What do you notice? A lot of people, right? A crowd. The more people there are, the less likely you are to notice anyone in particular. But say you're standing on a deserted train platform. You look out and you see one person on the other side. Most likely you're going to notice them. You're going to get a good glimpse of their face, really kind of check them out. Well, the same goes for good design. It's not about filling the space with as much as possible, but actually emptying the space so your visitor can focus on what you want them to see. The less clutter that you've got on the page, the more readable and browsable your page becomes. So Apple designs are so famous precisely because they embrace what's known as negative space. Negative space allows you to see what's inside that space better, because contrast improves readability. And I'm teaching you some terms here like negative space because it's good to know them if you're going to communicate to designers. So contrast improves readability. And that's why it's easiest to read dark text against a light background and not so easy to read blue against black or white against gray. Of course, you can still leverage that low contrast look from time to time if you want to include information on the page without drawing too much attention to it. So for example, here's a mock-up of our new homepage. Notice the media logos under our top call to action banner. You know, we take a subtle approach here. We use gray against white rather than having each logo in full color like Alicia did. So what people are doing is they're noticing these logos without drawing attention away from that bright blue opt-in button. You know, here's the thing. With media logos, they provide instant credibility even if someone doesn't take the time to read them and like figure out each one. So we've designed them to add this credibility without drawing attention away from where we want it. So they're there to support. Now compare that with the media logos on Alicia Dunham's website, which are in huge boxes, full color, and moving. Do you see the difference? So the other design best practice that you'll notice on our homepage is that we put our headlines against a semi-transparent white box, so the text doesn't get lost, you know, against the background. This gives us the ability to have a nice photo banner without losing readability. So compare that with this logo that was recently posted for feedback in a JV Facebook group that I belong to. So luckily, Morgana got the feedback that it was too busy and too hard to read before she went forward with this design. So sometimes it's good to have friends who know their stuff, you know? And these are just a few design do's and don'ts. I hope you can see that there's more than meets the eye when it comes to effective design that converts. And all too often, even professional designers and design agencies make really big mistakes in this area. Like what we saw with Alicia's website. I mean, ouch! So it may look good, perhaps it could even win some awards, but she's probably going to see much lower conversions to her email list than she was hoping for. So you may have had an uh-oh moment as I went through some of these design do's and don'ts, and that's completely natural. Less than 1% of the websites that I see actually get design right in the way that we're talking about here today. You know, as the art of really guiding attention by minimizing distractions and emphasizing just the right things, not just the pretty things. Unfortunately, that allows so many people in the internet marketing world to totally discredit design as unnecessary, as an expensive distraction, when it can really help you get noticed in a whole new way. I've seen that result firsthand in my business. So the thing that you've got to be aware of is that most designers, they don't understand marketing and conversion, so they don't realize the business impact of the choices they're making. They just want your site to look good. And a lot of designers are going to actively resist the kinds of suggestions that I shared with you here, you know, because they don't think it makes their design look good. They think it makes their design less attractive. So I can't tell you how many of my students, and some of them are here in the chat, have actually asked their designers to make these changes, only to have their designer completely resist their suggestions. So the thing to watch out for here is you really want to choose a designer who understands online business, you know, internet marketing, conversions, if you want a site that looks good and turns visitors into cash flow. All right, so that's a little bit about design. And what do we got next, Murray? Like, what do people want to know about?
Okay. So I'm seeing lots of votes for, let me see.
I bet it's hard to choose.
Yeah, I'm just scrolling through. Lots of, we've got micro conversions, we've got weird science, weird nav. People like that one. We've got dear me.
Oh, I'm supposed to come back to me.
Hey. I'm to you, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good ones here. Just choose one.
Okay, so let's go with weird science because people seem to like the idea of that. Weird navigation science.
I think it's because of the movie from the 80s, you know, where that guy was trying to build the perfect woman from his computer.
Funny you should mention that.
Well, that's what you did. Secret. Cat's out of the bag, right? Except you got a few things wrong. So anyway, you got that up yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. So
if people don't see the slides, can they let us know?
I think I can see the slides, so we're good. So, you know, I was kind of joking about Murray, like, building the ideal woman, but in a way it's kind of true. It's kind of what we're doing here with your website. You know, I want to show you exactly how to pimp out your website, to create your website, to really design your website so it's totally stacked. You know, so it's going to look how you want it to look and do what you want it to do, so it's really got it going on. So let's talk about navigation, because navigation is really important. It's how people get around your website. It's how they go from page to page to page. And you want them to browse, right? So most people do navigation all wrong. You know, they've got like 10 buttons stretching across the page with all these additional drop-down buttons with like 30 more options. And I'm like, whoa, where am I? What do I do first? And there was actually a famous study done by Dr. Sheena Iyengar called the Jam Experiment. So researchers were sent down to the local grocery store where they offered jam tastings. You know, half of the researchers offered 24 choices of jam, and the other half, they offered just 6 choices of jam. And the findings were kind of amazing. So the shoppers who were presented with just 6 choices bought 27% more jam. You know, that's almost a third more. So this is known as the paradox of choice. The more choices that you give buyers, the less you're going to sell. So after a certain point, you know, they just glaze right over, glaze over like a jelly donut. So that same experiment also revealed that 7 was the tipping point for too many choices. So what this research is telling us is that when you load your navigation with too many options, it can actually work against you and distract your visitors from what you most want them to do. So here's an example of this kind of, all-you-can-eat buffet and smorgasbord approach to navigation. You've got home, about, blog, programs, services, speaking, media, book, testimonials, free consulting, and contact. It's like throwing spaghetti against the wall to see what sticks. Let me just give my visitor every possible choice to see what they respond to. But it's not about them. It's about what you want them to respond to. That's the difference between, real design, and real conversion. And conversion, effective conversion, it's about focus and choice and simplicity. It's the art of guiding attention and inspiring action. And you don't do that by overwhelming people with choice. So what can we get rid of here? Because they all seem like good, important pages, right? Well, first of all, home and contact are not necessary in your top navigation. Most of today's web-savvy users know they can click your logo if they want to go home, And if they don't know that, it's actually not that important, because the homepage is really about directing new visitors where they want to go. Not about kind of coming back to the homepage over and over again. So there's no reason to keep sending people home. There's no reason to have that button in your navigation. So while it is important to make it easy for people to get in touch, especially if you've got a call me business model, and we'll talk about that later, you can use, if you want people to get in touch, then I recommend using a more directed free consultation page that actually encourages visitors to schedule a call rather than simply contact you. So you can also write out your phone number in the top banner rather than wasting a button on it too. Because if someone really wants to get in touch with you, they're going to take the time to scroll down to the bottom of your site and look for your contact info in the place where you can usually find it on most sites. So now let's talk about testimonials and media, those 2 buttons. So these sections could be important to some business models, but I would say that they're not essential to include in the top navigation. And here's why. So many of the top converting homepage layouts that we've created, and I'll share those to you later in this training. I know I promised you that free gift, and we're definitely going to deliver on that gift, so just wait for the right time. So a lot of those top layouts actually incorporate testimonials and media logos kind of right there on the page. So if you build this kind of credibility and social proof into your pages, it's not as important to break them out in the top navigation. You can still list these pages in the extended footer of your site, but you don't need to use top navigation real estate for, to display them. So now let's talk about the speaking and book options. So if you're a professional speaker, then I would recommend keeping a speaking button in your top navigation. And if you're an author or one of your primary goals is to sell visitors your book, then I would recommend keeping book in the top navigation too. But if you're not primarily a speaker or an author, then these don't necessarily belong in your top navigation. So after all, the kind of person who would book you to speak might be different than the kind of person who would buy one of your products or hire you as a coach or a consultant. So that leaves us with just 5 options, right in our sweet spot of 4 to 6 buttons. We've got about, blog, programs, services, and free consultation. So now I just want to say a word about how do you organize your navigation, really put it in the right order to get more people clicking where you want them to go. So people read left to right, and they tend to remember most the first and last thing they read. It's called the primacy and recency effect. This means your first button is the most important, followed by your last button. So let's start with the all-important first button. Just like on Google, where that #1 position gets like 32.5% of all clicks, the same goes for navigation. How would you like to begin your relationship with your customers? What would you like them to do or buy first? Most people make the mistake of putting the home or the about button first, and we already talked about the home button. So here's the thing with your about page. People are going to click on the about button regardless of where it is in your navigation. If they want to know more about you, they'll click that button, and the about page usually ranks up there in your top 3 to 5 pages no matter where you put it. So I usually recommend burying, the about button somewhere in the middle of your navigation. So now you're probably thinking, what does go first? If it's not home, if it's not about, what goes first? So good question. What I recommend doing is actually leading with a button that supports your business model, that actually helps convert some of your visitors into subscribers or customers. So if you've got a Call Me business model, I usually like to put a free consultation button first. If you've got a list build or an authority business model, then I recommend putting something like training or get started first. That way you're leading people to a page where they can take a first step with you, whether that's getting something free like an opt-in gift or discovery call, or even buying something low priced. Then I would stair step up into the #2 and #3 spots with higher level and higher commitment offerings before hitting your about page, then landing on that last spot. So for the last spot, I recommend bookending your nav with your blog, since that's where you put all your fresh, agile content. If someone hasn't clicked on one of your offerings, then give them the opportunity to deepen their relationship with you through your blog content. So your final navigation looks something like this: free consultation, programs, services, about, and blog. First up, you've got that free consultation or training or get started button or whatever best supports the first offering in your business. Then you've got programs or some kind of group or leveraged offerings. If you've got one, if you've got one. So if you don't have one, don't worry about it. Then your more high-end custom one-on-one or done-for-you offerings like services, coaching, consulting. And then we end on about and blog. So that's much clearer and much simpler than our first example, right? It's night and day different. By simpling your navigation to just 5 options, you're really focusing your visitors' attention and increasing the likelihood that they click through to another page on your website. And that's huge. Most business websites have like a 50% plus bounce rate, which means that more than 50% of their visitors leave the site on the same page they entered without visiting any additional pages. So getting them to stay and click is huge. So here's a sneak peek of the new navigation that I'm using on my new website. So I'm going to just have 4 navigation options. 4. I really kind of held myself back here. About, programs, services, and blogs. That's it. Of course, this is a draft, and it's probably going to read more like programs, services, about, blog once it goes live. So the other cool thing about reducing your choices is that it gives you a lot more design options. So my favorite navigation style, and one that we use for a lot of clients, is what we call the slim line nav. So the slim line nav, it actually reduces the size of your visual branding and navigation so visitors can focus more on your page content, which is where your most important conversions happen. You want that kind of branding to just be an accentuating feature. And it used to be that web navigation was really huge. It took up a huge part of the screen because visitors just didn't understand the whole concept of navigation. It had to be big so people knew where to click. Now people, they're a little more sophisticated. They get it. And that huge navigation, it's not necessary anymore. So you can still use what I call traditional navigation if you like, or if you've got an older audience, but on today's web, you've got options. So if your site is focused, here's another option actually. If your site is focused around your blog, you could go for what I call blog navigation. That incorporates your blog categories into your main navigation and gets people clicking through to your topics and posts a lot more often. All right, I actually could talk a lot more about navigation. It might sound geeky, but I want to get on to some of our 11 conversion tweaks. So what do we got in the chat? And I like the structure. It gives me a chance to drink some tea.
All right, taking a look.
I know, I've been hiding behind slides for the last little bit. All right.
Okay.
I know I have, but all right, what do we got?
So,
Tell me.
Right, so I'm just having a scroll here. We've got quite a lot of comments, so I'm going to scroll up a little bit.
They're all good.
Okay. First one I see is Social Love Fest, which kind of tickles my fancy.
All right.
Maybe we should just go with that one without wasting too much more time.
Let's do it. Well, one thing I know about being married, and Murray and I, in about a week, or no, a month, it's going to be our first year of wedding anniversary, is that it's important to tickle your husband's fancy from time to time. So let's go for that one. So back to you. Do you have it open?
Okay.
You're getting it open. All right. I'll give you a moment while you get it open, and we'll make this happen. So, all right. There we go. There we go. We've got 11 of these little mini presentations, so we've got to kind of switch between screens based on what you're saying. All right, so before we get going, I got to kind of tell you a secret. I want to get something off my chest and out of the way. I'm not really a big fan of Twitter. I think it's kind of useless as a business tool unless you're a celebrity or a Fortune 500 company. You know, if you're a smaller entrepreneur, I really prefer Facebook and Google+. But if you're a Twitter person, no problem. You know, and here's the thing about social media, and social media is a really interesting topic because apart from paid advertisements on Facebook and LinkedIn, social media has kind of gotten a bad rap in the online business world, mostly because people aren't getting results from using it. You know, most people aren't seeing a lot of return. So the reason I think that's happening is that they've gotten some really bad advice that doesn't really work, and they've wasted a lot of time writing all this content on social media without seeing returns, without seeing enough clicks, and really not seeing those clicks kind of turn into action. So the big payoff that I think a lot of people miss about social media is the search engine payoff. So Google watches the blogs and the websites where social engagement is really spiking on a regular basis. So especially if you're posting content as a Google Plus author, which anyone can do kind of easily. So here's the cool part. The sites with this social spiking actually receive preferential treatment, and it's funny, Phyllis just pinged me in the chat to say ugh on Twitter. So you guys agree. So when this pleather suit is getting a little bit hot. So here's the thing. The sites with social spiking actually receive kind of preferred treatment as sites of authority and influence on Google. So when you're considered by the biggest search engine on the planet to be a source of authority and influence, what happens? When people search on your topic, you're listed higher in the results. You know, you're treated as more of an authority than sites with no social spiking. So I've even seen client websites that use these techniques, and they start to come up in Google News, you know, as a news source because their social engagement really started to kick in. And the search engines knew that something was up and that they had to keep a closer eye on that site. So let me ask, how many of you in the chat room today would love to be considered as an authority in what you do? So I'm going to say a lot of you, and let's see. And here's the biggest secret to doing that. So more and more people are adding blogs to their business websites because they hear that content marketing is a great way to bring in new leads and traffic, not to mention engaging your existing audience. And it is true, great content marketing makes for great marketing. But what often happens is they start posting on their blog and they don't see any activity. So either they get frustrated and stop blogging after a week, or they keep plodding along for a couple months and still nothing. So not only is that kind of demoralizing, but it starts to get embarrassing too, because if you've built your site right and you've got those social share buttons on display and they're showing 0 likes and 0 shares and 0 comments, and it looks like that content that you worked kind of hard to create has no value, it's really like social proof working against you. You know, if you go and you see an article and it's got 0 likes and 0 shares, can it really be that good? You know, I mean, how hard is it to really click the like button? Not that hard. So what's going on here? Why aren't these people getting any engagement on their awesome content? And why aren't they getting recognized for their expertise and their brilliance? When working with clients, you know, what I notice is that there are only 4 problems responsible for turning your blog kind of into a ghost town. And the first problem that you could be facing is that your blog simply isn't set up for social sharing, and that's kind of an easy one to fix. This means that people can't like or tweet or comment even if they wanted to. So these kinds of sites are based on that old school traditional media model of one-way broadcasting of your content and ideas. rather than the social model of sparking engagement and interaction. So if that's you, get some social buttons on your blog so you can start seeing some actions. And I'll show you a great tool at the end to do exactly this. And remember, Google really counts social as part of their algorithm, so you want to do this. But if you already have some social buttons and they're not working, then you're probably making the second big mistake. You're simply not telling your readers to do what you want them to do, which is to engage. So on this website, My Yogurt Addiction, the author simply invites us to connect with her. There's not a real call to action there. So what exactly does a real call to action look like? Well, what I do on my blog and what I recommend to my clients is to add a visual prompt near the social buttons asking your readers to engage, click, like, tweet, whatever you want. And by the way, this is going to be a reoccurring theme for us here today, how you can use design and conversion techniques to really guide and direct your visitor toward the action that you want them to take. So as long as your content is good, just direct your readers' attention to the comments area and your engagement is going to rise. So as you can see on my blog, I installed a big red handwritten call to action with this big hand-drawn arrow, pointing down into the comment section, and my engagement instantly doubled. I couldn't believe it, just by adding this arrow and this prompt, I couldn't believe it. And you can do this too, this is totally possible for you to do. Just guide your readers' attention to where you want it. And the key is to make your call to action as visually distinct as possible so it stands out from the rest of your post, the rest of your page. And in case you think this sounds kind of manipulative, I wanted to reframe this by asking you a question. When you're looking for help on a particular subject, would you object to someone who knows more than you guiding you to the solution that you need? Of course not, right? It takes a lot of effort to read and digest and understand new information. And if you, as a business owner, can help someone make sense of something faster with less time, less effort, less stress, the kind of stress that prevents us from taking the actions that we actually want to take to change our lives, then that's got to be a good thing. Guiding and leading, that's our job as thought leaders and visionary entrepreneurs. We got to guide and lead. So back to what I was saying about incorporating call to action text or visual prompts in your social share bar. Here's an example of the site that I designed for leading dating coach Evan Marquette. So we wanted to encourage social sharing, so we added the word share the love, appropriate for a dating coach, right? So we added that text right above his social share bar. And as you can see, it seems to be working. Evan gets a lot of engagement, and you can too with these kind of personal touches. So let's say that starting today, you actually update your blog and start asking people to engage, but they're still not engaging. What's going wrong? Well, this is the third mistake that you can make when trying to build engagement. Imagine for a second that you're at the mall and you see this cute guy, this cute girl. You don't know why or what it is, but for whatever reason, they really kind of strike your fancy and catch your eye. So you walk up to them, you ask them, and the first thing out of your mouth is, you ask them if they like you. Awkward, right? And how would they know? They don't even know you. You're a complete stranger. This is the first time they've ever laid eyes on you. So if you ask them to like you right away, they're naturally going to conclude you're kind of a loser or that you're needy or that you've got some social problems. But like it or not, you're probably making the very same mistake on your blog of asking your readers to like you at the wrong time. So most people, their social share buttons sit right at the top of their page, right near your opening. Sometimes even before you say hello, and certainly before anyone has a chance to figure out who you are or even if you're worth liking. So think about it. Why would someone click to like your stuff before they've even read what you have to say? Especially if that like or share or tweet is going to show up as an activity on their newsfeed. So it's kind of logical that the best place you should be asking, do you want to like me, is right at the bottom, immediately after they've consumed what you created. So if someone has read down that far, they probably at the very least liked your content. And here's something that's kind of a ninja tactic for you. So we went one step further with this idea of asking someone to like your content only when they felt that it was the right moment by installing a social sharing plugin that actually scrolls with the user as they read. That gives the benefit of giving that instant social proof if you've got a lot of likes and comments already, and it also means that it's right there and easily accessible to the reader at the exact moment they're feeling most inclined to like it and comment or tweet it. So that tweak alone has been responsible for tripling engagement on my blogs, and my content routinely shows up on the very first page of Google because my blog is now seen as an authority. Some of my posts get something like 2,000 visits a month. It's crazy. So now let's actually say that you leave this webinar and you implement this simple strategy. You know, flash forward a few months and imagine dozens of likes and comments and shares on your blog. You know, imagine knowing that your content is really making a difference in people's lives. You know, can you picture it? Good. So now are you going to do something about it? All right, good. So I really hope you guys are going to take action too. So I think, wow, 12:53.
Time flies.
It does fly. I'm such a design geek and a website geek that I enjoy this stuff so much. It's like, wow, that's going fast. So I think we've got time for one, maybe two more. So choose carefully. Okay. You know, pick your next choice carefully. So.
All right. So one I was seeing a lot of earlier was let me see. It was the mobile. People want to know all about mobile, and people want to know about micro conversions, whatever the heck they are. So
okay.
Why don't we save mobile for last and do some micro converting?
Okay. Do we have time to do both?
I hope so.
Okay, let's make it happen. And I'm going to try not to talk too fast.
We can get to them all.
Okay. So, all right, you getting it? Okay, back to me.
It is back
yes.
right now.
We've got a lot of different presentations open right now to kind of bring you all these tabs. 11 of them, right?
All right.
So much fun writing this stuff for you. And how are you liking this, everyone? Have you picked up anything so far? I mean, it's really amazing what you can do when you sort of turn on this way of looking, this way of perceiving, this way of kind of focusing to understand and guide your audience precisely where you want them to go. I mean, that's real leadership and real influence. And it's not just about showing up on stage and being mesmerizing, but really understanding these things online too, and it's kind of cool stuff. So you ready? All right, I see we're ready there.
I see loads of people asking for fonts.
Oh my gosh.
A billion people asking for fonts.
Oh my God. Well, we'll figure out how to make that happen. Maybe we can do some kind of encore because I love talking about fonts. Murray actually just thought it wasn't that interesting. And I was like, are you kidding me? Right. Fonts are so interesting. But Zen and what's that?
Yeah, seriously, everybody's asking for fonts.
Oh.
Maybe after this one we can do fonts.
But I really want to do mobile because it's so important. Well, let's see. Maybe we can do fonts in the Q&A or something. Okay?
Yeah, maybe fonts in the Q&A.
Let's get moving.
All right, great.
So, Zen and the art of micro-conversions. There really is a Zen mentality when it comes to getting awesome conversions. Because you got to really focus
hang on,
in.
Make sure you're on slides.
Oh, slides.
White boxed.
No, you're white boxed on slides.
Okay,
yeah.
Great.
Okay, so there really is a Zen mentality when it comes to getting not just good conversion, but awesome conversion. Because you got to really focus in. Focus in on your message. Focus in on the information you need to collect. Focus in on the action that you want people to take, and of course focusing all the graphics and layout and design to support that action. So before we begin, let me define conversions. So I know it's a term that's tossed around a lot in the online business world, and I want to make sure you know exactly what I mean, because sometimes, teachers and trainers take for granted everybody's knowledge. So conversions are the percentage of people who take a specific action in relation to the number of people exposed to that action. In other words, if 1,000 people hitting a landing page and 500 of them register for your webinar or sign up for your opt-in gift, then your conversion for that page would be 50%. 50% of your visitors signed up, which is pretty solid. It's pretty good. Now, there are lots of great tools out there like lead pages and ClickFunnels that help you create great landing pages that convert. But how do you create an entire website that converts, not just a single page? So hang on a minute, Marisa. What's the difference between a landing page and a website? Well, the difference is that landing pages, which are also sometimes called squeeze pages or opt-in pages, are single pages focused 100% on the action that you want people to take. It's a page that you direct traffic to. So usually there are no other distractions, no logos, no site navigation, and no page content other than what's needed to sell the opt-in. Like I said, it's relatively easy to build a landing page that converts well using some of the tools out there. But there are 0 tools for creating entire websites that convert. So why is that? Well, for starters, unless you really know what you're doing, it's harder to make an entire website convert. Think about it. There's a lot more happening on every single page. You've got a logo, a tagline, navigation, and other information designed to let people know who you are, what you do, and why it matters. So they stick around and keep browsing. So in other words, a website contains choice, which all too often distracts visitors from taking the action that you really want them to take. That's why most websites convert at less than 1%. Less than 1%, which means that a full 99% of all the traffic that you send to your site is leaving without doing anything. Talk about having a leaky bucket. Talk about having like a big hole on your website. And a lot of times, they leave in less than 4 seconds. So I don't know about you, but I don't want to settle for a measly 1%. That's why in this section, I'm going to talk about how to pimp your site for conversion. So let's zero in on your homepage here for a moment. Let's look at how to maximize that top 600 pixels of your site that pretty much 100% of visitors to your homepage sees. So this is called your above the fold real estate. And in this area, I highly recommend that you create what I've named actually, the call to action banner. Now what you put in this banner depends on what kind of site that you want to build. And the kind of site that you build depends on your business model or how you make the majority of your income. This may be a new concept for you, since most people only talk about building a website as if there were just one kind of website and you either have a website or you don't have a website. But there are definitely more than just one kind of website. And I see a lot of people who make the mistake of choosing a website theme or template designed for a completely different business model than theirs, or not designed for business at all, and then they struggle to convert their visitors into subscribers and customers. So Squarespace is a great example. You've got these beautiful, kind of lush, graphic-rich, one-size-fits-all templates. And these work great if you're a freelance photographer, you've got a restaurant, or you're selling jewelry online. But they're not so great for building your email list or getting your phone ringing off the hook so you can fill your coaching practice. So let me talk about this call to action banner in relation to the different kinds of business that you're really trying to build. And I know that I promised you some homepage templates for joining us live on this training today. So let's take a minute and get you those templates.
This is why we had to do this particular presentation.
Yeah, this is why we had to do this one first.
We had to get you the template.
I had to make sure to get you the template. So I'm going to cover font in the Q&A. So stick around to the Q&A and I'll cover that at the end because so many people are interested in it. So let's get your templates so you can actually follow along and turn your site into a conversion machine, okay? So we're dropping the link into the chat right now. Go to takeflightnow.com/gift, and on that page you're going to see 2 download icons. So I recommend that you download the PDF version first, since that one's going to allow us to follow along here together. So takeflightnow.com/gift. So just go ahead and open the PDF for now. Don't worry about the Photoshop files. I'll tell you how you can use those at the very end of this section. So should I give them a minute to take care of that? And I'm going to give you a second to take care of that, and I'll be back in a That should be good. That gave me a minute to blow my nose. I've got kind of allergies going on today, and give you a moment to download your template. And I know that otherwise I'd have everyone distracted trying to download and open it while I'm training. So there you go, right? All right, I think you got me now. You got my audio now? All right, so I muted myself for a second so you don't hear me blowing my nose. TMI, I know. Okay? So let's actually dive into these opt-in banners and how to structure the top of your homepage to go from between 0 and 1% conversions to between 2 and 10% conversions. That's at least double, if not 10 times, the industry average for new visitors to your site. And remember, we're talking about homepages here, where visitors usually have more than one action that they can take. And if you read my blog series this past week, stick around anyway, because we're actually going to cover a lot of new information here that I didn't go into in those posts. So first up, let's talk about what I call the list build site. And this is the most common kind of internet marketing site, and it's probably the type of site you're most familiar with. So you're going to see that it's actually one of 3 distinct homepages that I've given you in the template gift pack, okay? So how do you know if the list build site is for you? So the list build site is for you if you're an information marketer or online business owner whose business model is based primarily on selling trainings, information products, group coaching programs, or even like physical products, especially those with a high potential for some kind of subscription or repeat business. So let me know in the chat if that describes you. All right, so the #1 goal of this site is to turn a new lead or website visitor into a subscriber to your email list. So at the top of our list build homepage, it's designed to do just that with as few distractions as possible. Okay, so I'm hearing that my server is slow, and I'm going to pause some things that might be going on. So hold on. There you go. All right, so hopefully that fixes things. So like I said, at the top of our list build homepage, you know, we're really designing it to build your list with very few distractions. So I want to show you what I mean. Here on the screen is the template that I just gave you. So what you'll notice is that the top of the page looks just like a landing page, and that you've got a headline with some supporting copy and a big call to action button. So the headline and button can be placed on top of either a video banner or a photo banner like you see in this wireframe. And in this example on Morgana Ray's site, which we also designed, the really ninja thing that we've done here is we've put the navigation below the opt-in. Since people read from left to right and from up to down, that big supersized button is the most prominent feature of the page, since it's right there in the upper left-hand corner of this template. You know, you see, we're expertly guiding and directing attention exactly where we want it to go without distraction. So I'm hearing that the server's gotten really slow because all of you are downloading my Photoshop files. So most likely you've got the PDF already. Can I ask to download the Photoshop files later, because we don't need them right now in the presentation.
Don't kill our server.
Yeah. So we can actually run this Hangout and stream all of this content for you too. I didn't think about that. So what happens when you click the big purple button? That triggers a modal or pop-up featuring your irresistible free gift. Now this is important. Just a year ago, sites used to have the name and email fields right there on the page. So people know right then and there that they're expected to put in their name and email to get that free gift. And here's the thing. That's kind of a big ask, especially if someone doesn't know you, right? So what's evolved in the last year is more of a micro conversion. The idea of the micro conversion is to put just the button on the page, because clicking a button is a smaller ask than putting in your name and email address right then and there. Now that button launches a modal that includes the name and email fields. And here's the interesting psychology that makes this tweak so effective. Because your visitor has already taken a small action, clicking the button, they're now more likely to take a bigger action, giving their name and email address. So the modal also gives you the opportunity to reinforce why your gift is so awesome with a headline and a graphic. So let's move on to our next template. If you're not an information marketer or online business owner whose business model is based primarily on leveraged offerings, you know, that a lot of people, you know, download or buy, then this next site could be for you. So this next site is called the Call Me site. And it's often overshadowed by the list build site because everybody hears the money's in the list, you got to build a list. And I actually didn't realize that this site existed until early this year when I started working with a friend and a client, Chris Elam. So Chris and I went to school together, and we lived in the same co-op, so I was kind of helping him out. I was doing some pro bono work in an industry that I don't usually work in to help a friend out. And Chris's business is bookaflashmob.com, and they actually just held a series of flash mobs all over the country to build buzz about the NBA basketball playoffs. You know, big stuff. So Chris's business is based on people scheduling a free flash mob consultation with his team, then signing up from there for done-for-you flash mob services. So here I was, like, desperately trying to fit Chris into the list build site mold. And you might be trying to fit your business model into the list build site mold, because so many, like, everybody talks about that. List build, list build, list build. That's why this is so important for you to listen up and listen to, okay? But here's the thing, you know, his current site, it might be a bit fugly, but it was actually performing really well for his business model. And that's the distinction. So 3.5% of unique visitors to his website were either calling him or schedule a call. Now, 3.5% might not seem like a big number, but remember, the industry standard is less than 1%. And to go from a visitor to a phone call is kind of a leap. So let's assume that this was your website. If you had a 3.5 conversion rate from visitor to phone call, and you had just 1,000 unique visitors a month, that means you would have 35 phone calls a month, 35 calls. That's more than 1 call a day. And if you're a coach, a consultant, a service provider, do you think that 35 phone calls a month from prospective clients could help your business? You know, absolutely. You could build a thriving business from 35 phone calls a month. And Chris was actually getting 10 times that amount of traffic. He was already getting 323 phone calls a month. His phone was already ringing off the hook. So I realized that if I gave him a list build site, we would have actually reduced his calls on the front end, not increased them. And that's where his revenue was currently coming from. So at first, you know, I tried a few hybrid approaches combining the list build and call me models, but that was just too confusing. Right there in the top banner, we were trying to split people's attention between 2 different actions, calling him and signing up for his list. So I kind of had this big revelation right then and there. I realized I've been trying to fit all of my clients and students into one kind of website, even if that website didn't really serve their business model. So I put my head down and I really kind of came up with a new Call Me site template designed for coaches, consultants, creatives, and independent professionals whose business model is based primarily on one-on-one advice and services. And this is the first time I'm teaching this template publicly, so kind of excuse me if I get a little bit excited here. So before we begin, you know, I did a series of blog posts where I gave these templates, and people were asking me if they can still integrate list building into a Call Me template. And of course you can, but here's the thing. The top call to action banner is focused on getting new visitors to call you. So the list build call to action in that case would come later on down the page. And you can also integrate Call Me functionality into a list build site, but again, the emphasis is building your list first. So it's important to make a choice about that very first action so you don't split attention and reduce conversion. So here's our Call Me homepage template. You'll see 3 distinct Call Me invitations right in the top part of the site. You know, the first is the Find Out More button in the top call to action strip above the navigation. The second is a phone number listed in the navigation itself. And the third is the big call to action banner, banner with our big orange Get Started Here button. So this button launches a modal with the option to schedule a call now that links straight into your calendar. And the alternative version of this modal that I'm showing on the screen right now allows visitors to leave their details and have you reach out. This is good if you don't have a sales team ready to handle incoming calls. So the key performance metric for a Call Me site is the number of people who call you, or the number of people who schedule a call divided by the number of new unique visitors. Pretty cool, right? And you can still incorporate a list building call to action banner lower on the page if you choose, like what I'm doing with Chris, who came to me because he wanted to start building his list without quieting that phone. So there's actually one more kind of website, and the last template came out of a recent conversation that we had with our business coach, Brian Franklin. So Brian made the observation that our Live Your Message site wasn't set up to attract high-end clients. It was pretty much an internet marketing website designed to attract students into our courses. So you see, high-end clients, they're looking for a different kind of experience. They want to know that you're the best. They want to see who you've worked with, what you've done, and what you believe. They're less interested in that free checklist or report or training video, and more interested in evaluating what you can do for them. And that's why you'll see these really big famous ad agencies like Wyden and Kennedy. They don't ask their audiences to do anything. Instead, they feature compelling visuals and content to position themselves as the famous Wyden and Kennedy. That's also why you'll see famous writers such as Seth Godin lead with a big picture of themselves, and again, not really ask their audience to do anything specific. He's just saying, here I am, now go explore. And that's why you'll have someone like superhero Michael Drew, who spoke yesterday, caution you against asking for the opt-in too soon. So Michael's audience for his high-end kind of platform building services is primarily well-known thought leaders and best-selling authors. So he encourages you to build intimacy first and stair-step people up into greater levels of action and commitment. So our last homepage template, designed to convert, is the authority site. This template is for authors and speakers, media personalities, thought leaders who want to position themselves as the #1 authority in their field. So here you'll see we have the navigation and visual branding on top. This is minimized since the focus of the page is one really compelling, high-quality photograph of you. You're the authority, you're the person that everybody's coming to check out, so we lead with a picture of you. And you can still have a call to action button here, and it could link to your About page, or it could link to your blog page. It could even allow people to download a copy of your book in exchange for an opt-in. But the focus is on positioning you as an expert. And that's why we follow this banner with media logos to further reinforce your expert status. So the Zen and the art of micro-conversions is all about understanding what one outcome or conversion is best going to support your business model, then designing the entire page around that one conversion. So we went into homepage templates here, but you can actually go through a similar process for each page of your website. And sometimes the focus is on opt-ins and engagements, like on your blog pages, and sometimes it's on sales, like on your products or training page. Just know what the purpose of that particular page is and structure the entire page around that result. Okay? It's pretty cool, right? And simple. So action is all about simplicity, and conversion is all about simplicity. So the more options and stuff you got on the page, the lower your conversions, and I want you to internalize that. Just like the jam experiment that we talked about earlier, confused or overwhelmed visitors, they usually don't do anything at all. All right, so I said we had time for one more, and we're just going to take the mobile one because that's the one that I really, really want to do because it's super important, and I think a lot of people kind of take this one for granted. So, Monks, can you...
You ask people to stop downloading because it's killed our server.
Yeah, so can you please stop downloading? So can you load the mobile one for me? And I'm going to do the fonts one in the Q&A once we get started. But if you can, please stop the downloads. It is hurting our bandwidth. We've got a pretty amazing server. We pay like $250 a month for it.
You've killed it.
But you guys have overwhelmed it, which means you're pretty amazing in what you got going on. And wow, we have over 700 people. Woohoo! Okay, now I'm going to get charged up and ready to kind of present the last section, and then we can do some Q&A, and then I can teach more about fonts, and then we can give away some contest prizes, and really close the summit with a bang because it's been such an amazing 2 weeks. So you tell me when you're ready.
All right, we'll do.
Mm-hmm. All right, we got it going on.
Yeah, switch to me.
Yes, so we're diving into Join the Mobile Revolution, and we've got a little, I don't know what the little guy is doing at the bottom of the Join the Mobile Revolution. We got the wrong icon there. Anyway, this is a really good place to end, which is why I wanted to stop here. And the reason why is that the future of the web is mobile. So reports show that between 40 to 60% of all web traffic now comes from mobile devices, such as cell phones and tablets. And that's amazing. It's just amazing to me that we can do so much from these portable devices that we stick in our back pockets. So what a huge opportunity to reach people that you never would have reached before, to reach people on the go who open an email that they probably wouldn't have opened at home, and reaching people around the world. So in every country in the world, except for the US and the UK, mobile internet browsing actually exceeds desktop usage. That's right, more people are accessing your site from their phone than a computer in every country but the US and the UK. But here's the rub, here's the challenge. If you built your site 2 to 3 years ago like I did, it probably wasn't designed to be mobile friendly, and you could actually be losing 50% of your website visitors. And if you think I'm exaggerating, well, have you ever tried to browse through a website on your cell phone and it was clearly not designed for mobile, and you're messing around with all those fiddly drop-down menus and you try to navigate to the right place only to choose the wrong page because your fingers just couldn't tap that tiny little button no matter how far you zoomed in? Well, how long did it take you to give up and hit the back button? For me, it's usually around 4 seconds. And studies show that for most people, it's around 4 seconds. And here's a couple of screenshots of sites that I go to regularly that are clearly not designed for my cell phone. And what happens when you can't get the info that you need? You just give up and you leave pretty fast, right? And now these are some pretty bad examples. And I'm imagining that you're probably doing a better job than this. But still, if your site was designed just a few years ago, it probably isn't responsive. You may have heard that word responsive tossed around recently, and I just want to take a moment to define it. So responsive websites are designed to create an optimal viewing experience regardless of whether someone is visiting that site on a desktop computer or a tablet or a mobile phone. So in other words, a responsive website actually senses what size screen you're browsing from and delivers a version of your website that's optimized for that screen. So let's use our Online Business Superhero Summit website as an example. Here's how the site looks on desktop computers. All right? And here's how it looks on tablets. And here's how it looks on mobile phones. So some of you here today, you probably got an email from one of our 10 superheroes on your cell phone. You click the link, you hit this landing page, and you registered for the summit right from your mobile phone. So we made it super easy and clear for you to register from any device, which is why we have conversion rates of anywhere between 50 to 94% on these summit pages. That translates into over 10,000 opt-ins per event, live audiences between 500 and 700 each day, and we've got over 700 here today, and I'm excited that you came out to see me. Anyway, and it translates into almost $250,000 in sales between the Superhero Pack and our 10 presentations. So do you think it was worth the time to build mobile and tablet-friendly versions of this website? Absolutely. We would have lost at least a couple thousand leads and a lot of money if we hadn't done this. So you'll notice that the mobile versions of our Summit website retain the look and the feel and the branding of our desktop site. So a lot of people hear that they need to have a mobile version of their site. So they go and they install a mobile site plugin for WordPress that strips away all the branding and everything that makes their site unique, everything that makes their site stand out from the noise. And it provides this generic experience that makes them look exactly like everybody else. And that's a huge mistake in a world where 644 million websites exist, and that first impression matters. That first impression tells people that you're for real, you're valuable, and they should stick around and pay attention to you. So let's go back to those 3 homepage templates I gave you. We've just been looking at the desktop versions. Now I want to show you the tablet and mobile versions that we're giving you as well. We've actually created 3 unique designs for each of these templates: a desktop version, a tablet version, and a mobile version that are optimized for each screen. That means your mobile visitors don't have time to fumble around, panning and resizing and scrolling around to see what they need to see on your site. Instead, your site automatically adjusts and delivers them just the right experience. All right, so let's use the list build site as an example. So you can see how this works in practice. In addition to showing you the wireframes, I'm going to also show you a live example of a client website that follows this model. So you can see how this looks with all the colors and the fonts and the design elements in place too, and I know you all like fonts. So let's start with the top of the website first, since you rarely see an entire website on your screen at one time. You've got to scroll to see everything, right? And by the way, if you're ever looking at web design comps, don't zoom out and look at everything, because that's not how you experience that site. So in our model template, we begin with the call to action banner, followed by the navigation. Then we had the video section formatted in 2 columns, with the video on the left and the headline and the button on the right. Now in our tablet version, we've moved the navigation to the top, so we can stack your logo above your navigation to give those buttons a little bit more room and make them bigger. We've also changed the video section to a 1-column layout to provide a better video viewing experience for tablet, making the video big enough to see without going full screen. Now in our mobile version, we have a completely new navigation optimized for easy mobile browsing. And this is really a funny trivia fact. Those 3 little lines that you see for the mobile navigation, they're called a hamburger. And when you click it, it doesn't feed you, but it expands to show all your navigation options full screen. So it doesn't matter how poor your eyesight is or how fat your fingers are, you can actually still easily navigate to the page that you want. You'll also notice that the call to action banner has changed over to a 1-column layout, so you can easily see the headline and the image and the buttons. And scrolling down the page to our media logos and our 3 Get Started pathways, you'll see there isn't much change between the desktop and the tablet versions apart from a difference in scale. But this is what really changes on the mobile version, where we actually lose our media logos and we go right into the 3 Get Started pathways, which are now stacked one on top of another. And the reason we skip the media logos in this case is that people on cell phones are usually browsing much faster. You know, they're looking for exactly what they want and they don't need all those extra bells and whistles. It just gets in the way. And there's a lot more scrolling on cell phones too. You know, you can't fit as much information across the page, so you really have to use the length of the page a lot more. So we usually remove sidebar widgets and page elements that aren't essential to prevent the mobile page from getting so long and someone just stops scrolling before they find what they're looking for. So a lot of people think they can kind of magically make their site responsive simply by installing a free plugin. But I hope you can see that giving the full 50% of your visitors who are coming to your site on a mobile device a really great browsing experience actually involves making a series of choices about what to include, what to exclude, and how to deliver the best possible experience for that particular screen size. So here's an example of a recent responsive site that we built for Jim Kerwin of Get America Moving. So we built Jim a list build site using a variation of the model template that I gave you that incorporates a video call to action banner. So you can see the desktop version there, which uses the full width of the screen to deliver an exquisite experience. And next to it, there's a tablet version, which is slightly simplified. And then there's the mobile version with our hamburger menu. So we also use the length of the screen to guide Jim's visitors to what they're looking for. So pretty neat, right? And don't forget that we've actually given you all the responsive homepage Photoshop files for our 3 $50,000 homepage templates. The list build site, our Call Me site, and our Authority site, in addition to the desktop version. So don't download them now. You can come back to them later. We're not taking them down.
I'll move them to S3.
And we'll move them. But if you're already working with a pro who's got Photoshop and who knows what to do with these files, this is going to save them a bunch of time as they begin to implement your new homepage. So we going back to me?
Yeah, back to you.
Back to me. Okay. All right. As we implement, your new homepage, right? So all of the thinking's been done for you on how to get your homepage looking great across all different kinds of screens and devices. We've planned out what's called the pixel grid to kind of convert magically between device to device to device. And if you do just this one thing, if you leave this presentation and the only thing that you do is use these templates to make your homepage responsive, then I guarantee that the 40 to 60% of your users who are on mobile devices are actually going to stick around to learn more about you and how you can help them, which is going to be the biggest jump in site effectiveness that you could ever hope for. So I've proven it with a lot of students, hundreds of sites and students now. But imagine what would happen if you did everything that you learned today. You know, what could you achieve if you rethought your site navigation based on what your visitors most needed to see when they land on your site? And you simplified so that people, instead of being confused by too many options, could take one clear, confident step forward with you. And what if you added those comment call to actions on your blog and installed a social share bar that scrolled with your reader to inspire social engagement at just the right moment? What would that mean to start being regarded as an authority through that kind of really improved social proof? And what if you leveraged the idea of a micro-conversion, and turned your website to that single most important action that you want your visitor to take? Really tuning in, whether that's signing up for your list or getting in touch or following you as an authority. And finally, what if you followed my advice in the do's and don'ts section on design and you were able to dramatically boost your site conversion because your website was sending all the right signals? What if you could do all that? Wouldn't that instantly transform your business? You bet. So right now I want to check in with you. How are you feeling after all that? My goal was to leave you feeling excited at the potential that's lying untapped in your website to transform, to feel excited about the potential kind of lying in your website and how that can really transform your business and even your life. And I'm hoping that you're starting to see new possibilities opening up for yourself and your business. But at the same time, perhaps you loved all the tips and strategies, but you don't have the time, the technical know-how, or the desire to implement all this by yourself. And maybe you don't have access to the right team to support you, or perhaps you're just feeling frustrated that this tech stuff, it's constantly seeming to get in the way of you sharing your brilliance with the world and stopping the flow of growth of your business along with it. So if this describes some or all of what you're feeling right now, let me know in the chat box because I'm really interested to know how you're feeling. So just go ahead, take a second to tell me what's the #1 issue that's holding you back right now. Is it time? Is it technology? Is it support? Whatever it is, I'd like you to let me know. And this is going to be kind of interesting for us to see how we can support you better. And while you're typing, something important that I need to tell you is that just a few short years ago, I was right where you're at right now. Just like you, I studied all the best courses. I spent a fortune on the right information. All of these courses and programs and trainings, with brilliant ideas. But I just didn't have the time and the expertise or the patience to implement it all. And I spent tons of money on coaches and masterminds only to find out that my message still wasn't getting out there, and worse still, the tech headaches just kept on coming, taking me away from what I did best and what I was passionate about. So I get it. You want to be free to share your gifts and your skills and your expertise with the world. If only you could make it all work. And that's the giant elephant in the room they never talk about when you sign up on all this training and info and masterminds. Who's going to build and implement it all for you? So I'm just going to look at what's going on in the chat box and see what's happening for you. So technology, time and support, time, support, accountability, and money. Time. So a lot of, wow, it's going so fast I can barely keep up. So I see a lot. I'm not techie, says Patricia, so no problem there. I am a techie, so no problem there, but I'm not a salesperson. Debbie, definitely technology. I want to write, teach, and share, but get bogged down with the techie stuff. Paul, technical help. Kathy, I lack a team, but may find someone on Elance. So Africa says time. So just it keeps going on. Lack of support, says Kathy. Okay, thank you so much for sharing what's going on for you. And I'm happy to say that right here on the session today, right now, I'm going to solve all these issues for you. So my husband Murray and I have spent the last few months trying to figure out how we could make it possible for literally anyone with a big heart and a big idea to launch their business online without going through all the months or even years of struggle. And I'm getting, sorry, a little emotional because I see it so often. By bringing you the same level of design quality and conversion know-how and technical expertise and really complete commitment to excellence that we provide our $50,000 high-end clients, but for a fraction of the premium price that we usually charge. So we believe that even if you're not a 6- or a 7-figure company, your message still deserves the very best design. You deserve the very best technology and the very best marketing and conversion strategies. And that's why I'm really, really excited to introduce you to Take Flight Now. So Take Flight Now is a way that you can work with me and my team and have us build for you the website that you've always dreamed of having. And when I say our team, I mean you get access to the very same crack team that's been creating $50,000 websites for our huge clients. Their expertise is now available to you, but without the big price tag. So imagine having access to a team full of the right people, all working single-mindedly on relaunching your successful website. Imagine never again having to worry about whether or not your site is actually bringing you business. Imagine being free of the overwhelm and the worry and that constant nagging feeling of, I gotta fix my website. Imagine having a unique, one-of-a-kind site that finally sends the right signals about you and your business, instead of a Me Too site, using the same tired and overused templates that everybody else is using. Imagine the peace of mind in knowing that your website is going to be reliable, it's going to be beautiful, and most of all, it's going to be profitable. What could you expect to pay for a ground-up website project like this? And as I mentioned, our team normally only takes on clients at the $50,000 level, but we figured out a way to open them up to outside projects on a very limited basis for much less than that. And this means that you're not going to be paying $50,000 or even $30,000. I know folks that have paid $20,000 to join masterminds where the only thing that you come out with are ideas. And you won't even pay that to have our team build your online business from the ground up. So most good designers and agencies are going to start at $10,000 for a custom build site based on the templates that we've showed you, that we've given you. Because we're talking several weeks of time and manpower, and expertise. And even for that level of expenditure, you're not guaranteed to get something that's going to work to actually grow your business. But we figured out a way to keep the cost way under that too. So what will you invest to join Take Flight Now today as one of our first members? Well, it's going to sound absolutely crazy, But for the cost of a high-end info product or training course, you can have your entire custom website done and out in a matter of weeks if you want. So as a marketing test for a very limited time, the total investment to join us and work one-on-one with us and finally own a website that looks great, feels like you, and gets results will be $2,997. This is your shortcut to a full custom site experience for just a fraction of what my other clients paid to work with us, for just a fraction of the usual investment. But there's a catch. We're only offering it at this price as a very limited marketing test, and only until Monday night. I'm not even sure we can make this profitable for us at this price point, but we wanted to try because we really want to do this for you. I just can't bear to see another, one of my students like graduate from one of our courses and come out with like a crappy site. So we're really, really trying to make this work for you. And depending on the demand, after Monday, we might never offer this complete done for you package at this price ever again. So if you're serious, we ask you to put down a small $97 refundable deposit today to secure your spot on our development calendar, because this isn't fast food. We're going to create something completely custom for you and your business, and that takes time. So your deposit today locks in your spot in the queue so your site can launch when you want it launched. And when we receive your deposit, here's what's going to happen. On Monday, we'll email you a link that's going to allow you to book an initial phone call with our team. You guys will jump on the phone at a mutually convenient time at some point in the next 2 weeks, and we'll talk about your business and your brand and how we think we can help. If there's a fit and we both decide to go forward, then we'll book in your site launch date and get you started. If it isn't a fit, we'll refund your money and wish you the best of luck. So one word of warning though, if you're interested, based on the demand that we've seen so far, you'll want to put down your deposit right away. We take new clients on a first come, first served basis only, and if you delay today, it might take us an extra month or more to get to you, okay? And as an added bonus to reward the action takers who move forward with us before this call is over, I'm going to throw in an extra gift. Exclusive access to all 11 of these conversion tweaks, including the other 6 tweaks that we didn't get to in this presentation. And I gotta say, the 6 tweaks rock even more than the ones I've given you today. So if you're serious about your time in your business and you value the support of a team of pros who can just make this happen for you, then this is for you. If you want to be free of the overwhelm and the worry, then this is for you. If you're looking for peace of mind and the certainty of guaranteed results, then this is for you. Just click on the link below this video to put down your $97 deposit and get started. I look forward to working with you. All right, Murray, do we have any questions today? All right, monks, we have any questions? You there? Okay, so first of all, I'm seeing some of the love that's flying through the chat, and I just wanted to thank you for sending the love in the chat. I see Felicia says, Marisa, this is so what serves my highest good. Woot woot. Marisa's one smart cookie. So, and Jillian says, geez, best webinar I've been to in 6 months, which is awesome since we had 10 amazing people on the webinar. So what do we got for questions? Let's see. Okay. Questions?
All right.
So, all right. I'm usually the one hosting and getting this all ready. So,
okay.
So tell me if you've got any questions about what I talked about today, if you've got any questions about Take Flight Now and how we can support you. And yes, I see Kathy saying fonts. Kathy, let me answer some questions first. Let me give away some contest prizes, and then I'll come around to fonts, okay? So, all right, what do we got?
All right, so let me see. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through them right now.
There's just a lot of things coming. So Phyllis, if you can help us too and maybe paste some of the relevant questions in the chat, that would be great. And usually I've got this all organized by the time we come in here, but I couldn't since I've been talking, and now I'm seeing all your comments, and it's pretty cool. So I guess here I see Lyria says, what do you think about having your photo on the main page? I think that's a great idea. I mean, people don't buy from you because of what you know or what you do. They buy from you because of who you are. And that level of kind of trust and connection and authenticity is really important. you know? So I really recommend doing that. You know, people want to see a face behind a business. They don't want to do business with like a call center where everybody's anonymous, okay? So Lee says, when is the balance of money due, and will the site be created over several months or so? So Lee, in terms of the balance of money, once you decide to go forward with it, we've got payment plans. So we've got 3 payments of, I guess, I don't know the exact payment plans, but we've got a payment plan for you. So each payment will be due every 30 days. So you've got a few months to kind of pay everything off. In terms of when the site will go live, we can actually take your site live in as little as a month. The question is when you're going to be ready to take it live in terms of having your content ready and all of that kind of stuff too. So we can do this really, really fast on our front. And I actually have training throughout the entire program so you can make sure that you're making the kind of right decisions. So
Wow, I just logged onto our order page and I just see that there are a bunch of people who have joined us. And I just want to take a second and welcome our new members for Take Flight Now. And we have Christy and Sarah and Gail and Andrea, Raina and Carol. Welcome.
Awesome. I'm so excited to kind of work with you. And I've got to say that I'm going to be personally supervising these first handful of sites because we really want you guys to be our success stories. We want you to be our portfolio site. So I'm going to be getting in there and making sure that every single site that kind of leaves Take Flight Now is stunning and is going to really perform. So I'm going to take care of you guys, and you know, we're serious about trying to remove the boundaries and the barriers to entry for having an amazing online business, okay? So we're going to make this happen to you. I've wanted to do this for a long time. We just didn't know how we could until now, and we literally spent 6 months trying to figure out how to bring this to you because so many of you were asking us for it. So this is an example of us trying to give you what you asked for and what you wanted. So next question I see from Melody is, how many pages does your site include? So the site includes 10 pages, and every page, by the way, can be 100% custom. What that means is it's not like a template where you've got one main page and you've got 9 identical subpages. We actually kind of optimize every page for the action on that page. So that's 10 pages total, including your blog, and even though your blog is like really 4 pages, we count that as a single page because your blog has the individual post page, it's got the excerpt page, it's got the search page and the category page. So we count that as 1 page, and then you've got 9 others. And we help you choose the best pages too, and we've actually got coaches, and some of them are in the chat box today, so say hi. If you know, we've got coaches who are going to guide you through the process too and make sure that you're making the right choices for your business and making sure that there aren't red flags. And we've really created a process that's kind of fail-proof. You know, I've done this a lot of times, and I really wanted to make sure that it's fail-proof, so it doesn't rely, like you don't have to think, oh my gosh, am I making the right decision all the time? I could do this or I could do this. We'll guide you and make suggestions so you know, if you trust our expertise, what the best choices are. So, all right, next question, and that I see coming in, and I see, wow, there's a lot of them. Awesome. So I see Ryan says, what is the name of the plugin, the social share plugin that scrolls? And I have to say that we've never found any plugin that actually works the way that we've shown you. So it's a custom plugin, but that's automatically included in Take Flight Now. We basically, by the way, I don't know if I said this, but we bake in every single conversion tweak that I taught you today. That's baked into the platform. So we bake in the custom kind of scrolling social share bar. We bake in that call to action kind of pointing into your blog comments. We bake in the responsive. By the way, the site's going to be completely responsive. We bake in the kind of tablet and the mobile and the desktop versions, and we bake in the kind of our navigation styles, and you get to choose whether you want the list build site or the call me site or the authority site. You choose which site best supports your business model, and we'll help you make that choice. So it's really, really kind of pretty cool. And I also wanted to welcome Melody, Annie, Georgette, and Tanika, bunch of women. So thank you, and hopefully some men too. So Mike wants to know, what's the price again? So the price, the deposit is $97 today, and you don't have to make a decision today. It's a fully refundable deposit. So once you invest $97, we actually give you some homework to do, some kind of free additional training, and we're going to get on the phone with you. We'll send you an email on Monday to schedule a call with us in the next week or two so we can talk about whether this works for your business. You can ask me all your specific questions, or my team, all your specific questions, and then decide whether it's the right fit. We'll tell you all the options, all the pricing, all the payment plan installments, so you know. But the price is $2,997, and I've got to say, it's taken us 6 months to crack the code on how we can deliver a package that's got so much in it for that price point, and still be profitable. So without giving them away, giving our time away, giving everything away. So we've really been working on this for 6 months solid, and went away to France for 2 months to do this too. So I can tell you that anywhere else, you're going to pay at least $5,000, if not $10,000 or $50,000, to get a site with everything baked into it and everything that we've considered already. Okay? And by the way, you do get a few coaching calls as well. So like I said, I want to make sure that you feel comfortable that you're making the right kind of decisions. Okay, so let's see. There's more questions coming in. And then Gail says, does it include training in Web Builder WordPress so that I can add more pages later? So, and someone else asked, is the site in WordPress? So here's the thing. I've been building sites in WordPress for 3 years straight. And I've really loved the platform. I've exclusively been recommending WordPress for years. And then all of a sudden, some things changed in the last year. Lead pages came out, ClickFunnels came out, Squarespace came out. And what I realized is that WordPress is really heavy. It's difficult. It's hard to learn. It's hard to customize. It's slow, on Google. And my students were going in having these WordPress sites, and they couldn't even put like an opt-in widget where they wanted it a lot of times. It was really hard to crack. And then every time WordPress updated or plugins updated, it would cause these incompatibility issues that were causing the site to break. And so what I saw with lead pages and ClickFunnels and in Squarespace is that the companies were seeing smarter options, making sites simpler for you to kind of manage and change with time, so you could kind of evolve it and update it 24/7 without having to log in and like be freaked out you're going to break something, that feeling that you can actually do it yourself. And so what we've done in the last 6 months is we've actually created a brand new platform that's responsive but still has the builder, still has everything. And we're going to host the site for you for like a full year free of charge as well. So it's got everything baked into it that you need to have a list build, a call me, or an authority site. It's got everything that you need. It's got the SEO, it's got the social share functionality, it's got the font palettes with the 4 fonts, which I'll talk about in a little bit. It's got everything that you need without all the stuff that's kind of unnecessary that doesn't work in a business context, that are just like all over the WordPress themes. So we've created something that we know is going to work 100% without breaking down. So that's what we're giving you. And the other big reason, the other big motivation to doing this is that over the past 3 years, sometimes it would take 3 or 6 months for us to build a custom website. And by the time we build that site, it's like the web was already a different place. It had changed. It's like driving a car off the lot, and like it instantly depreciates in value by 50%, And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to be able to dynamically update and refresh sites for my students so your sites don't get stale and out of date. So what we've done in the builder that we've created is we've created the functionality to be able to refresh the site based on new technological developments. So when you log in, if there's a new option to upgrade your site, if, for example, instead of listing kind of the name and the email address on the field, new technology says, on the page itself, launch a modal and it gets better conversion, we'll give you the option to update that. So basically, some of those options, they may cost a little bit extra to kind of improve and maintain and grow and evolve your site with time. But we wanted the capability for your site to be this living, breathing, dynamic thing that could be dynamically refreshed as the web changed. Because I'm out there all the time, like studying conversion, studying design, seeing what's new, seeing what's different, and thinking about how can I add this to our existing sites. Because what was happening is I'd build the site for somebody, and then they'd leave, and sometimes they'd update it themselves, and it would break, and then things would go really wonky, or someone else would come on and add pages that didn't match the other pages. So we wanted to create a structure, an environment where we can make sure that you would have something that really converted, that was stable, that wasn't going to break, that you could update, that had the total flexibility. Like I said, you get 10 pages on your site, and you can customize every single page differently. So on most themes, you've got one main page, you've got like a block template, and then you've got one subpage template, and you've got to use that same template for every single page. Our system that we've built, and it's been Oh my gosh, a labor of love to build. Allows you complete customization every page. So if you decide you want a testimonials widget, you just drag it onto your wireframe before we design this. This all happens before the design even happens. If you decide you want like a blog widget to navigate your blog, you drag it in, and it's that easy. And then we build that site page by page exactly to your specifications. So it's pretty neat. And I hope you enjoyed that question. And so we really thought long and hard about whether to do this in WordPress. And when we saw what Squarespace was doing, what Lead Pages was doing, what ClickFunnels was doing, we realized that there was a smarter way to do this, to give you all of the options and the customization and the stability without some of the heaviness and the challenges of WordPress. And yes, we will train you on how to use your site afterwards. Okay? And if you decide you want to, yeah, we will train you. So Melody says, can we host it on our site if we want? So Melody, we include a year of free hosting, and the reason is for us to be able to maintain the site like we talked about, for us to be able to incorporate all of these different features and functionality, for us to be able to have the refresh option, we've got to host that. You know, if you want to refresh your brand, we need to host that for you, so that gives us the ability to continually kind of refine and update your site if you want it. But we allow you to leave our platform at any time. So if you decide you don't want to be in the platform, you download the HTML and you can take it somewhere else. Like, we don't want to hold anyone against their will. Like, we've built this business based on freedom, so we're not here to kind of hold you hostage. That's not our goal here. Our goal is just that I've seen way too many people kind of come out of my classes and end up building a site that wasn't getting them results because they just didn't have any options between the free templates or the high-end web templates that they could afford and that would actually do what I was training them to do. So we've been wanting to offer this to you just as that solution to fill that gap between the free solutions or the really low-cost templates and the really expensive custom stuff, okay? So Pollyanna says, once the site is developed, who owns the site? You, 100%. You own the site, so it's your website. Like I said, you can download the HTML, you can take it away anytime you want if you want to do that. We don't own the content, we don't own your website. We do own the process, the system, you know, but we don't own your stuff at all. I don't have no interest in owning your stuff. That's all you. You've worked so hard for it. You know, I don't want to own it. And by the way, if you do invest in an agency who knows this kind of stuff that I know, most of them take an ongoing percentage of your business. You know, some of them take 5%, 10% of what you make every single month. We're not going to take anything. You pay for it, we host it for a year, and then we can kind of continue to support you beyond that as you like. So, all right. So let's see, what other questions do we've got here? So Esty says, you didn't deliver the promise of 11 tweaks as this webinar was billed. Marisa, you promised to deliver 11 tweaks on this webinar. Anything else is a cheat. So sorry about that, Esty. I decided to go really, really deep on the 6 tweaks that I did. I will be teaching the font tweak in just a moment. I gave as much value as I possibly can. I think you'll agree. And if you do want to work with us more, I am going to give everyone who signs up live on this call access to the other tweaks. I'm sorry, I just couldn't go deep and actually give you real information and cover all 11, so I wanted to let you guys choose which was most important to you and go that way. So I think from all the other comments here that I delivered. All right, so I will go into fonts. Just give me a second, you know. I want to kind of get through some of these questions first. So I wanted to welcome Doreen, Ray, Melanie, and Elizabeth to the platform as well. And also, it looks like Chuck, Ahi, and Lee, and Rachel, too. So thank you. All right, so someone wants to know what's the yearly price. And there's no yearly price. So $2,997 is all inclusive. It includes a full year of hosting. So if you decide to continue beyond that price point on our platform, you know, we'll have a couple kind of hosting plans and service plans. And the main reason we do that is because a lot of our customers and students wanted ongoing technical support. They wanted maintenance. They wanted us to actually keep doing things for them without having to worry about hiring other people. So if you want additional support, you know, we're going to be available to give you additional support. We've built out a team to kind of help you, not just on this website, but for as long as you need your help, so we can eliminate you trying to find the right person who knows what they're doing. But $2,997, nothing else for the entire year unless you want additional support. So we have no hidden, you know, surprises here. We're really doing this for you to kind of give this to you. So, all right, let me see what else is going on. And let's see. Okay, let's see. All right. So Patricia says, can we pay $97 to get all the 11 tweaks only? Patricia, it's really a bonus for people who are interested in this service. You know, you can, if you want to kind of pay $97 and then get on the phone and then not sign up and take the tweaks, you can. I give you that option. It's a $97 refundable deposit. I ask that you only sign up if you are really seriously considering this and not sign up just to get the tweaks, because, you know, I am actually going to spend the next week or two to record all the rest of them since I couldn't cover them all today. And I will be covering the fonts, though, at the end as well. So Arthur wants to know, what do you define as a website? Homepage, category and product pages, checkout pages, info pages, all design, etc.? Is it limited to the site templates in the PDF or completely custom? Just trying to have the scope defined, or is that what the call is for? So we can definitely talk about that all in the call, but you have way more than the site templates I gave you today. So what we do is we can give you suggested layouts. So these are layouts that we know work, layouts that are proven. But if you want to design create your own layout completely from scratch using all of our module elements, all of our features, you can. We give you the option to create a completely custom layout, and all you got to do is drag and drop what you want onto that layout. So it's really that easy. And you can do that for every single page of your site, and you've got up to 10 pages. So that can include blog pages, home pages, product pages, you know, training pages. It includes all of that. And yes, it includes custom design too. Okay? So definitely, if you're interested, sign up and, you know, have a call, and you can kind of ask more questions there too. So Debbie wants to know, can you work on a site that's already been started? No, we can't. We've got a really specific process, and every single time I've ever tried to work on something that somebody else has built, it just doesn't work. Because what happens is whoever built it didn't really know what they were doing 9 times out of 10, and we can't build from a foundation that's broken. We want to build it right from the beginning, okay? Susanna wants to know, what if I feel like a hybrid of those categories? Can you help me decide, and can my website still be beautiful? Absolutely, Susanna. You can choose a hybrid of a list build and a call me. My main point is that you really want to focus on that top part of the site on a single call to action. You know, you really want to focus on, you know, one or the other at the beginning so you don't distract people and then they don't know what to choose. But down below, you can feature additional calls to action. We will help you make the choice, absolutely, and your site will be beautiful, okay? And let's see, and I just see so many questions coming, and I want to make sure that I've answered them all. So Tina says, I'm interested in video on the homepage. Is that helping with conversions? Well, honestly, it really depends on the video. You know, it could be too long, it could be too short, it depends on your script, on your performance, a lot of different things. I don't have the video on my suggested list build site because I think image really helps you focus, but I do recommend a visual on a call me site because people need to get to know you a little bit better before trusting the phone call. So Margarita says, can I use the templates on my site? Do I just put in the codes? How does that work? Margarita, you'd actually have to hire a designer to go from our Photoshop files into HTML for you and to kind of overlay it with your custom design and your custom content. So we've given you the structure that works, but you can't just, you know, drop, copy, and paste code on your site and have it work. If you did, that'd be kind of magic, and I would want to know how you can do that. So Cindy asked, should we redesign the other pages of our site to match these new home pages? Yes. Now, your other pages would be different. Because, for example, on a product page, that's all designed to kind of help you sell the product, right? And on a blog page, you really want people to read and to spark engagement and also potentially to opt in if you're getting traffic coming in from Google. But yes, you're going to want your site to be consistent throughout the entire site, definitely. Okay? So let me see what else is coming here. So Frenchie wants to know, is this in line with your 3 seconds to success methodology? So yes, absolutely. So we are going to make these sites beautiful so you get noticed, and the layouts are designed to focus on the right thing first. So definitely aligned with our 3 seconds to success methodology. Anything that you've ever heard me teach is kind of baked into this website in terms of the methodology, the philosophy behind doing this. I've taken my years of web design and kind of project management experience and put them into this template and the structure, and I train you along the way too through videos. So that's all kind of included. So I'm going to answer one more question, and then I want to do the first contest announcement, and then I will teach about the fonts, okay? So Alan wants to know, is there a guarantee? So first of all, Alan, your $97 deposit is 100% refundable. So if you sign up, and if you get on the phone with us and you decide it's not the right fit, we refund your money, and you get to keep those 11 tweaks that I promised you, okay? But the guarantee is that you are going to have a site by the end of this process. And this process can take as little as 30 days. It can take as little as, longer if you have a lot of content that you need to create along the way. How fast it goes is really up to you. So our guarantee is that you're going to have a site that works, a site that converts at the end of this process, and you're going to love your site, okay? So that's our guarantee to you. You will have a finished site that works, that's fully functional, that has all the pages and everything that we promised inside of it. It's a done-for-you offering. We can't do your entire site and then give you your money back, but you would be approving things every step of the way. You get to kind of review the designs that we create and say, yes, I like this. Or from that first homepage concept, you get up to 3 revisions. So we make sure that you like it. So you're signing off each step of the way to make sure it's what you want. And we've got coaches meeting with you as well to make sure you're on the right track. So we're going to get this done for you. So Dr. Amore asks, does this include some branding? So the site includes options. We've got something like 30 different color palettes that we've built, bunch of font palettes, a lot of different branding to make your site really pop out. If you've got an existing logo, we can drop it in for you as well. At the $2,997 price point, we don't include a custom logo design. We just couldn't do that and still be able to deliver the price at this price point, okay? So, but we do include customization. You can drop your logo in. If you want us to create a logo for you, we can for an additional investment. It includes your choice of colors, your choice of fonts, between all the palettes that we provide you with. We've kind of done the work to choose things that we know are going to look awesome, okay? All right, so let's just go ahead and do a contest. Oh, Kenny just says, hey, Marisa, I signed up and I'm a guy. Thank you, Kenny. I look forward to it. Awesome.
All right, so let's go over to the contest page. This is the system that we're using is called Contest Domination. And as you can see, it's listed the winners in order, 1 through whatever. And the winner, number 1, is a lady by the name of Janelle Livet. Janelle, can you tell us, if you're in the chat, can you please sing out and say hello?
So Janelle Livet, if you're here in the chat, let us know. Oh, she saw her. Okay, so Murray already saw you, so we think that you are in the chat, which is awesome.
She is won. Janelle, congratulations, you won the first prize.
All right.
Let me just go straight to the second prize, I think, just to get out of the way.
Okay.
Second prize, Adrienne Smith. If Adrienne Smith is in the room, please raise your hand.
All right, this is kind of fun. We got to give away some really, really, really good prizes. And oh, I love this quote from Frank, who says, I worked for various agencies such as Aqua, and Marisa and Murray are a dream for the internet marketing agency. Yeah, if you know what it takes. By the way, if you know what it takes to do this, this is a really pretty amazing offer, and we've never done it before because we couldn't do it. And Daniel wants to know, do I have until Monday to pull the trigger? Yes, you have, Daniel. Daniel, you've got until Monday to put down the $97 investment. I do have that fast action bonus for people who are taking action now on the call, just because we'd love to help you make the choice. So definitely. Okay, hold on. We have one more winner to do first.
All right, so we see if Maxwell Ivy is in the room. Maxwell?
What a name.
Maxwell Ivy.
And if Maxwell is not in the room, then it goes to Lee Blackwood. And I saw Lee a little while ago. Lee was in the room. I think she had to run out, but I saw her. She came. She came to the show. So if Max, so our winners, Janelle, Adrian, Maxwell. If Maxwell's not here and Adrian's not here.
Okay, so Adrian's here and Janelle is here, and then we've got Max. We're waiting to find out from Maxwell and Lee. So I have a feeling, yeah, Lee's been here all day long, and I don't know about Maxwell, but I know that Lee has been here. So we'll just wait. So first of all, do any of you guys, who wants to know, who wants me to teach one more tweak? And I know that I was only able to get to 6, and I'm sorry if that angered some people. I'm giving you all that I can here. I'm putting my heart on the line. So let me give you another one. So if you guys want that? You want it? You want me to talk about fonts? You've been asking for it? I think they want it. What about you, Murray?
I believe they want it more than you can imagine.
Okay, so let's do some additional training, and then I'm going to come back to more, questions after this. So I just want to give you fonts because you all asked for it, and trust me, I wanted to give you all of them, but I couldn't teach them at any level of real usefulness. If I gave you all, and by the way, I didn't realize that when I wrote the webinar. I actually was planning to write all 11, but once I started writing them, and once I started really giving you nuts and bolts information, how to kind of step-by-step stuff, I realized, we couldn't possibly do all 11, but I figured that you would rather have me go deep than get all of them, okay? And so Murray's opening the fonts 1.
Yes.
You ready? So we actually prepared all 11 of these because it's my intention to deliver them all, but I would have had to talk for 3 hours. Murray always laughs at me because I always kind of overwrite and over-deliver. It's just in my blood to want to go deep with you all and really give you everything that I've got.
It's Keynote Finals. I've almost found it. I think this is the one.
So anyway.
Yeah, this is it.
Okay, great.
Woo!
Okay, so I hear in the chat that Max is blind, and Lee has been here the entire time. So we're going to give this to either Max. If he really is blind, we'll have to find another way.
I was talking with him on email with Max. He's blind.
Okay, so Max is talking to him on email, and he is blind. So it's not really fair for him to ask him to write this in the chat. So we'll just make it happen. And so either Max or Lee, you're number 3. So congratulations to Adrian and to Janelle for winning. So fonts. Okay, everyone's saying fonts, 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 please. And yes. Okay. So Adrian says, I've got to run. Is there anything else I need to do? So yes, if you won a prize, go ahead and email your email address. I think we already have your email address, but just email support@liveyourmessage.com if you won a prize package so we can kind of respond. It might take a while to get all the prizes from our superheroes, but we will do that and make sure you get everything that was promised to you, okay? All right, so fonts, you ready for me to take it away?
Let's talk about fonts.
All right, let's talk about fonts, baby. So I love talking about fonts, not just because I get to sing the Let's Talk About Fonts song, but because very few people realize the full power of typography to transform the look, feel, and experience of your site. So what do I mean by that? Well, in my work transforming the businesses of my clients, many of them were coming to me and they were complaining that their websites weren't getting results. They weren't getting them noticed as the authorities they were. They weren't generating enough clients and sales, and on and on and on. And you can bet that I've seen some shockingly bad before examples. And here's one from product launch guru Minders Glover. Now, who is Minders Glover? So he's kind of a legendary figure in the field of online product launches. So if you've got a product to launch on the internet, this is the guy to see. So he knows every different kind of way to launch a product, and he's executed dozens of successful launches, generating millions of dollars. But when he came to me, 100% of his business was coming from word-of-mouth referrals. In other words, his website was generating him pretty much no leads. When he told me this, I remember being surprised. I mean, how could a website be that ineffective? But when I checked his site out, it was obvious why. So I'm going to show you his before site now, and when you see it, if you can, I want you to focus primarily on the choice of fonts and not the overall design. So give me your first reaction in the chat box on whether these fonts fill you with confidence that this guy is really at the top of his game, one of the best in the field. All right, go. So how are you feeling? Even if you have no background in design, most of you are probably screaming at the screen right now. It just feels wrong, doesn't it? There's just something about this font that says amateur, untrustworthy, even cheap, right? It's sending off signals that says, I'm not serious. You don't need to understand why. Just recognize that you're feeling this way. So Minders and I worked together and came up with a new set of fonts. Headlines, subheadlines, body copy, and accent fonts that really work to give him huge levels of credibility and authority. And I'm going to show you what that looks like in just a moment. But before I do, I wanted to check in with how you're feeling about those fonts. So I'm reading the chat here, and I see totally old-fashioned font. They look cheap, says Rachel. Shauna says the font is too small. Some Greek guy with crazy hair says boring fonts. And Sally says hard to read. Carol says nothing outstanding. All right, so going on. That's what you got to say. And now here is a new site that we just, sorry, I'm still laughing about the crazy hair. So I'm getting a little punchy after 2 weeks of doing the summit. So here is a new site that we designed for Minders. So it visually looks amazing. But again, I want to ask that you focus on the font palette above all else. So if you stripped away all the design, how would that choice of fonts make you feel? More or less confident that he knows what he's doing? So let me know in the chat, would these fonts help you feel more or less confident about what he's doing? So that's the big difference of a professionally designed font palette can have for you. So what exactly is a font palette? I don't know anybody else who talks about having a font palette. Everybody talks about having a color palette. But you can also have a font palette. So a font palette is a collection of 3 to 4 branded fonts that you use consistently across every web page you create, as well as all your other materials. Think of it like a simple branding shortcut that allows your prospects to make a decision in the blink of an eye, whether they're going to pay you with a little bit of their time and stay a little longer on your site. It sends a signal that you're no longer a Me Too, hobby business owner, and could be someone worth paying attention to. The right font palette not only adds to your company's brand, but it can actually increase your conversions by calling attention to exactly what you want your visitors to focus on. And I'll show you a really ninja way to do this in just a moment. Actually, I think I already showed you that. But first, let me walk you through the 3 to 4 fonts that make up your font palette. First of all, you've got your logo font, or the font you use to depict your company name, or if you've got a personal brand, your name. Next, we have header and title fonts that may or may not be the same as your logo font. If you use a fancy script or serif font in your logo, I would recommend using something simpler and cleaner for your header and title fonts. Since your headers and titles are the most important copy on your web pages, you want these to be as clear and eye-catching as possible. The right headline can double or triple conversions, especially if it's emphasized by the right font. So here's an example of the same headline in a poor font choice and a strong font choice. Can you see the difference? One looks elegant and professional, and the other just looks squat and ugly. So next up, we have your body copy, or the font that you use for the rest of your copy throughout your website. You want this to be as clear and legible as possible, and you want to stay completely away from script and serif fonts here. So let me show you what I mean. Here's a script font used for body text. It's almost impossible to read, right? And here's a serif font used for body text. All those extra flourishes on the letters work great in print, but not so great on screens. Now here's an example of a clean, clear, easy-to-read body copy font. You want this font to go under the radar. People aren't supposed to notice your body copy font, right? They aren't supposed to notice that font choice. You want them reading what you've written, not thinking about the font. That said, I do recommend keeping it 100% consistent across everything you do. Finally, our last font. This is something very few people know about or implement. This is what we call your accent font. This font can be a bit more playful, distinct, or branded to your business. Since accent fonts are used to create visual emphasis, it's common to choose a handwritten or script font here. So this allows you to use your accent font as a visual prompt to call attention to buttons or important text, or to divide sections of your website. So here's an example from the site I designed for Evan Markatz. So we use an accent font called D'Artagnan, and as you can see, we use this font for page dividers to emphasize different sections of the site, such as join 5 million readers, the text we use here to segment the top buying part of the homepage from the bottom value and blog part. So we also used his branded accent font for the Share the Love text that emphasizes the social share buttons on his site, as well as his blog categories. I also use accent fonts all the time, and here's an example from my Message to Money sales page. We use our accent font to emphasize and differentiate our pre-headline from the main headline below it. That just makes our top banner a little more fun and a little more interesting. And now here's where it gets really ninja. You've probably heard that once you've established your visual branding identity, it's really important to repeat the same visual branding elements over and over again so people start to recognize your materials pretty much instantly at a glance. So we've done this really well across our businesses. So you can quickly recognize Superhero Summit's materials or Live Your Message materials. So once you've chosen your font palette, it's time to rinse and repeat. So here's a page from the brand book we give each of our Take Flight Now customers. You see it defines each of the fonts in your palette. So you can share these specifications with anyone who joins your team or creates materials for you. So a brand book makes it really easy for you to maintain consistency across your platform and materials. So you get that instant brand recognition that separates you from 99% of your competitors and instantly makes you look like the real deal. So we don't have time to go through the rest of this brand book. We actually give you a brand book at the end of Take Flight Now so you can take your brand with you. But when you're ready to get serious about your brand, I also recommend choosing a branded color palette, creating a custom logo, and defining the style of imagery that you want to use. So all of that is going to go into your brand book too. So I hope you can see that fonts are a powerful way to guide your visitors' attention and emphasize the key messages and elements on your site.
So what does a brand book do for you if you have a brand book too?
Okay, so a brand book really gives you brand consistency. So what happens a lot of times is you get a flyer for someone, and then you get something else from them, and then you kind of visit one of their web pages, and then you go to like a different squeeze page or sales page, and the fonts and the colors are different on every single page. So it's like there's no continuity there. There's no user experience that's created. They don't start to feel like, oh, that's Marisa's stuff. That's a Live Your Message site, or oh, that's a Superhero Summits page. So we've really developed that for you, so you know what to expect from the experience, and that we're not just, I think the messaging and the branding and the positioning of your business is so important because it allows you to crack the code on words and images and experiences, because we're in a business of creating experiences. So when you have that brand book, you're able to recreate a similar experience that's going to feel comfortable and familiar to your audience over and over again. And like I said, we give you a brand book at the end of Take Flight Now, so you know what's fonts were used on your website. You know exactly what colors were used in the values, the RGB and the CMYK values. So anybody who ever does anything for you in the future, even if it's your designer creating like a form in Word, would know exactly what to do, how to kind of recreate that look and feel so all your materials match and you get that kind of recognition. And I gotta say this is really important because people dilute their brands all the time. They just like stick a new font in or stick a new color in or do something new that day, and you really kind of diffuse the power of your brand. So that consistency is so important, which is why every good brand has a brand book. And we created this amazing brand book for Take Flight Now, and it's helped us so much to build like the presentations. We did the keynotes because we had a brand book. We were able to do the order form. Did we get the nice order form online?
No.
Oh, I recorded a video for you and everything in a really nice order form that was like beautiful, but it broke right before the session, so we had to use a generic Infusionsoft order form. But we'll probably get that back online in the next day, in the next couple of minutes.
I'm determined.
In the next couple of minutes, so you can see, and then you can see how our order form matches the presentation you just saw. So everything really matches. And it feels like your business is a serious business. You're a real business. You care about the messages that you're sending out. And if you care about your own business, then you're going to care about your customers too. And that just kind of translates, okay? All right, I see that Lee kind of came on the line. So Lee, we've got to make sure that Maxwell wasn't here. And if he wasn't, then it is you. All right, so let me see what else. So Renaissance Art says not all fonts display the same on every computer. Unless the font is installed in the person's computer, it will be replaced with something else.
No.
How do you deal with that? Also, just because a font is a Google font does not mean it will be displayed correctly and not be replaced. So Google fonts solve the problem most of the time. You know, you might have like a weird case scenario where someone is on this like, you know, computer from the 70s, you know, and it doesn't like work, or they're on a browser that's like 3 years old. But we're designing for like 80% or 90% of your audience and really providing the optimal experience. So for the most part, you can now have a lot more flexibility with fonts than you could even a year or two ago. So you can have that sort of branded experience and not resort to the same like 5 web fonts that everybody tells you to use. So that's kind of an old school technique of you can only choose these 5 safe web fonts. You don't want to do that. You want to kind of stand out. And if you're surfing the web today, you'll notice that there's a lot of other different kinds of fonts, and that's totally possible. I mean, I've showed you a bunch of my client fonts, like Evan's site. That D'Artagnan font is displaying beautifully everywhere, right? It works, so no problem there. Okay. Of course, you've got to know how to choose them and work them. And by the way, the fonts that we provide you in Take Flight Now have all been tested to make sure they work across all different platforms and devices. So Carol says, I have a brand book from my last rebrand. Can we use the same color palette for my Take Flight Now site? Yes. So if you have an existing color palette that you want to put into Take Flight Now, an existing logo, yes, no problem. All right, so what other questions do we have? Let me see what's going on. I've got so many screens open, and this has been so much fun. And I still see we have, you know, kind of over 600 people here. So
welcome to Dana, Linda, Eric, and Bonnie.
Oh wow! So we've got Dana, Linda, Eric, and Bonnie too who've joined. We're starting to see the dudes come on, which is great because Murray in particular likes some dude bros to be helping out.
And Annie.
And who?
Annie.
And Annie as well. So welcome. I really look forward to getting to know your businesses. And Alan wants to know what Evan's site was. It's evanmarkcats.com, and it's a pretty cool one. All right, so let's see. Can anybody, let me see if I can find some of the questions. It's harder when you're talking than when you're not. So let's see. So Tom Mayers asked, should the contact information be in the footer? Yes, I definitely recommend your contact information should be in your footer. So Africa says, how do we let people know we are available to speak? So this is for if you're a speaker. So if your main site is not a speaker website, you know, if it's primarily designed for like client-facing interactions, I would recommend having a speaker page in your bottom navigation. I know I had that tip in the playbook, so if you go back there, you'll see some examples of extended navigations. So I recommend having it there in your bottom navigation. And also you can link to it from the speaker page. And also when it comes to speaking, you've got to really be out there networking too. So yes, that's how I would recommend doing it. So Lyria wants to know, what's the difference between programs and services? So programs tend to be leveraged offerings that more than one person can go through simultaneously. A service is usually something like Take Flight Now that's one-on-one. Okay? So you could only have services, or you could have programs and services. I have them both. Or you could only have programs. So you would choose buttons that kind of work for you. And thank you, Phyllis. She's got to run. So Deanne wants to know, what is your take on the left versus top navigation controversy? So I don't really know that there's a controversy about left navigation versus top navigation. But my recommendation with navigation is to keep it on the top, because on the left you're pulling massive real estate to the navigation. And for people who are in businesses like us, we want people to take other actions. In that left part of the screen, you'll notice that a lot of times, you know, you create either a one-column site or a two-column site. And that second column is almost always on the right. So if you've got a nonprofit website or something like that, I think an additional left navigation for browsing really deep pages and stuff, or if you're like a Google News site or Yahoo News with a ton of information, it can be helpful to have left nav or both top and left nav. But for the kind of site that we're really talking about here, top navigation is the best. Okay, so Terry says, are you saying get started would be an opt-in or something separate? So your get started page can look a lot of different ways, and I've done them in so many different ways. If you go to Jim Kerwin's Get America Moving, people can choose between 3 opt-in gifts based on kind of what they want to do. Do they want to start exercising? Do they want to start running? What do they want to do? I need water. Hold on. And the other bit, you could also feature blog post content. You could also feature that call me content. You could really do what that first step is in your business, or give people a series of steps too. So Andrea says, where do you put the business logo? Some can't be reduced to a slimline lav. Do you just use the name? So this is a really interesting topic, because most old logos aren't designed for the web. A lot of old logos kind of are vertical logos. So I have a version of our logo that's the logo stacked on top of the name, but we also have a horizontal version of the logo with the icon to the left and the text to the right. So if you're designing a logo today, I recommend creating a web-friendly version of your logo, because that's where a lot of people will encounter it. If not, you know, you can still have a slimline nav with just navigation. Then you could put the logo, say, over that top banner. So I've seen a lot of people do that, like the Alicia Dunham site that we talked about. So, but I also recommend that, you know, logos should not be that big. Also, the slimline banner could get bigger. You could also go for a traditional banner, and we've got traditional, by the way, we've got traditional navigation templates in Take Flight Now too. The traditional navigation allows you to have a more traditional kind of top banner with your branding and your tagline and maybe your phone number, whatever you want up there, and then navigation underneath. So if you've got one of those kind of logos that take a lot more vertical height, you might go with traditional navigation logo. And like I said, that is a template that we offer in Take Flight Now. You've got about 5 or 6 navigation style choices that will really fit kind of your logo. All right. So I've got a question here from Dana, who says, will changing to your platform affect my Google ranking? Just signed up. Is there any kind of guarantee for the whole program? No, unless it gets slower or faster. I don't know what that means.
That's my answer. No, it's not going to affect it.
Oh, okay.
Unless it goes up or down in speed.
Thank you. All right. So no, it's not going to affect your Google ranking, because you can keep the same URLs. So if it's really important to you, if you have an existing site that's got a lot of sort of leverage and inbound incoming links and things like that, you can migrate those URLs over to our platform. So you have the exact same URL, which doesn't. So a lot of times you affect ranking if you change URLs, if you change from, also especially if you change from one, like marisamurgatroyd.com to liveyourmessage.com, it would be a totally different ranking process for that other site. But if your site is slow right now, if it's not running fast, if you go to quicksprout.com and you've got like a warning label for your site speed, then that could be affecting your ranking. So if your site gets faster, it could actually improve ranking. So in terms of guarantee for the program, our guarantee is that you will have a site that that works at the end of it. And the thing is because we're building all this for you custom from scratch, we can't build the entire site and launch it and then give you your money back. We will promise that the technology will function, it's all going to work. You have sign-off points every step of the way. So you actually have options. If you get your homepage comps, it's not exactly what you want, we can kind of tweak and adjust and refine until it gets to be what you want. And you would sign off on that before we created all the other design elements for your site. So it's going to be really hard to get something that's not going to work, and we've created a really foolproof system. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, and as you know, people are spending $50,000 plus on my services to do the same thing for them. So they wouldn't be spending that kind of money if it didn't work. So this stuff works, and we've created a process that is really going to guide you step by step of the way, so you can make really good choices. And we've got coaches who are checking in with you after each major stage of the process. And I'm going to be reviewing all these sites too, because it's the first time we go live, and I want you to be success stories. I want to be like featuring you. Like as case studies. I want to know your results. I want to see your analytics. I want to really make sure that you're getting the best possible site, because honestly, getting in right now, we are working out the kinks in the process. Like, it might not be 100% seamless all the time, and we're going to ask for your feedback to make the process better every step of the way. But what you get in exchange, first of all, we're not sure we can keep offering it for this price point, $2,997, because this is totally custom what we're giving you. It's made especially for you. But what you get is that we're going to give you these particular first set of projects so much of our attention. Like, I'm personally going to review everything before you even see like your first homepage comp to make sure it meets our quality standards and our expectations. And if you've seen our stuff, you know I'm pretty hardcore about that. My designer laughs at me. I'll say, that's 2 pixels off, and I can see like things that are not right. So, you know, we are going to give these a lot of love, because the success of this project, this service, this platform, depends on the success of the experience of the first people who go through it. So you can better believe that my entire team is here to make this an extraordinary experience for you, because otherwise, you know, none of this is going to work. If we can't deliver, like, we wouldn't be in business, we wouldn't be doing this, we wouldn't be offering this to you. So our guarantee is that you're going to have a site as fast as just 1 month from now that's custom to you, that's based on all the elements page by page that you choose, that's based on, you know, the color palettes that you choose, you know, that really reflects you, and that's designed around your business model. So that's our guarantee to you. And like I said, I'm asking you not to put down $2,997 today. I'm asking you to put down a $97 fully refundable deposit. So if you get on the phone with us, if you ask us all your questions and you decide that this doesn't meet your needs, no problem. We'll give you the $97 back. And if you signed up live on the line, we'll still let you keep that kind of free call bonus. And for those of you who've already signed up, we've actually given you like homework and training right there on the confirmation page too. So, you know, we're kind of serious about making sure that we're not just providing a service, but we're helping you go through a fail-proof process and make right choices every step of the way. So that's my promise to you, and that's my guarantee to you. Okay? And that's pretty common, by the way, for services, done-for-you services. All right, so just a reminder, we are coming towards the end of the session. I'm still going to keep answering questions as long as I can, as long as my voice holds out and my bladder holds out and all of that. But you know, you've got until the end of the session to do 2 things. One is, when does the superhero pack go up? Is it right after the session? It's at the end of the day? Oh, midnight. So you've got until midnight Pacific tonight to grab the superhero pack at just $147 and still get your bonus tickets to see Lisa Sasevich and Don Crowther live. And you've got until the end of this training, when we close the Hangout, to sign up and get your fast action bonus of, you know, the recordings of all 11 of these tweaks, the 7 that I taught today, and the how many? That's 4 more or 5 more that I didn't get to. And I hope you enjoyed what I have been able to teach, because I really wanted to go deep. And, you know, with your permission, I asked you if I could go deep, because I wanted to give more depth and practical knowledge than just superficially covering a bunch of things that you couldn't use. So let's see. So someone wants to know, what's a good tool for making those hand-drawn call to actions? Well, first of all, we bake that into Take Flight Now. So Take Flight Now is totally equipped to make those hand-drawn call to actions. You can also, you know, make them on Photoshop. You know, there are a lot of different places you can go to make them. You can get one done for you on Fiverr, you know. But you also want to make sure that it uses your accent font, so it actually fits to your site. It's not just like stuck on there randomly. So Pam wants to know, when you send a group of people all at once, such as a webinar like this, to a particular page or site, and it gets all this traffic, does it help instantly build SEO around it? No. That works on YouTube, but it doesn't work on the web. If you get a lot of social engagement, like likes and comments and stuff, that will help, but not just simply traffic to a single page. So Tanya says, I'm caught between the list build and authority websites. How do I incorporate them both? Well, Tanya, you could see from the model template that I showed of Live Your Message, I include a really big photo banner. So that's an authority banner on my site, but I still include the call to action to build my list. And then, of course, it depends on kind of what sections you incorporate later on down the page, like some of the video sections and stuff that I recommend. So you would do a hybrid between those 2 templates and styles, which is totally fine. We can take care of that too in Take Flight Now by customizing any of these page layouts. You don't have to, like I said, use the template exactly as we've given you. We actually give you complete flexibility to choose the elements that you want. So Buddy says, how should the site be laid out when you want them to shop or put something in the cart and purchase? So e-commerce sites are really different from what I talked about today. If you're selling something that's like a jewelry shop or t-shirts or something like that, it's a completely different site structure than what I talked about today, where a lot of times the store is right there on the home page. So we don't really do just purely like sell a bunch of jewelry or t-shirts. We do incorporate shopping cart functionality. So if you've got 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 training programs that need to be listed on your products page, of course we can do that. But if you've got like 50 or 100 or 1,000 SKUs, that's really a different kind of website, and it's not what I'm talking about here, and it's not what we're doing in Take Flight Now. All right, so Tina says, I think I answered that already. So, and now Cindy says, can the templates be used with a theme like Optimized Press or Genesis? So Optimized Press, no. Optimized Press includes templates, and you either use their templates or you kind of go home. It's a very rigid theme. With Genesis, it's more of a theme framework for WordPress, which means there's a little bit more customization, but you're going to have to completely reinvent the entire theme to kind of use the templates that I've created, because that theme isn't designed in this way. It would be hard to do. It would take quite a lot of coding and development work. So Terry says, and we still have a lot of people here, huh?
Hey, the order form's online.
Oh, the order form's online. Okay. Woo! And it's working?
Yeah.
Okay. So my really nice order form for Take Flight Now came back online. So if you guys can do me a favor, just because we put a lot of time, I actually recorded a video. I woke up at 6 in the morning to record a video for this order form too. That was a little bit heartbreaking that you couldn't see it. So if you can click that button one more time or go to takeflightnow.com/go, you'll see this is an order form, and this is an example of what a brand book can do for you. As you can see, our order form matches the presentation that we just created. And that just creates a really kind of aligned feeling. So you're not going from watching this presentation, then going to an order form, and there's a total disconnect because all of a sudden it looks completely different. So that's our order form, and it's working now. And later on, if you want to go and watch my video, you can watch my video. But that's our pretty order form. And let me know if you like it, because I think it is pretty. All right. Okay, so... all right. Let's see. I'm just kind of reading all of this different stuff. So Angela says, will one site work if I promote several businesses as an affiliate in 2 main niches to a very particular target market? So Angela, that depends. If you're only doing affiliate promotions based on, say, email and landing pages, then you wouldn't need a website like this. But if you're building like your reputation as, for example, a curator or someone who brings together the best trainings, or someone who is a brand in and of itself, or someone who might ultimately want to kind of come out with your own trainings and things, then yes, you could do this. You would still need to create different kind of campaign sequences and things most likely to promote those other products, but yes, a site like this would work. All right, great. So, and Susanna's saying, oh, my new order form is so much more lovely than the typical Infusionsoft order form that I signed up on. So sorry, Susanna, for giving you a subpar experience the first time around, but it works well nice. And Clive says the order form looks fabulous. All right. All right, so let me see. Try to get through all of these. So ZV wants to know, can you do the design to fit an artist, painter with a gallery and a shopping cart? So ZV, it depends. Like, we can definitely have a gallery on your site, but if you want to do like a shopping cart to sell thousands of different paintings and stuff, or hundreds of different paintings with a lot of different SKUs, this isn't really the right solution for that. There are a lot of ones designed specifically for that. I think Squarespace has something like that. I think other site templates have something like that. But if you want to build something aligned with the list build or call me or authority model while selling your paintings, then we can do that. Okay? So Frank says, if my team wants to use our own, what's that?
I'll just answer.
Okay, so Murray answered you. He's on it. So Zeev says, I'm just starting an IM, no product or site yet. How long does the option valid for after the deposit? So that's a good question, Zeev. So We haven't really set, like after you do the deposit, we'll have you get on the phone with one of our teammates in the next couple of weeks. And you can decide what you want your launch date to be. You can have that launch date be later out in the year. But we do reserve, if you haven't paid yet for the project, we do reserve the right if you don't get started till next year, we might not have the same offer. So I haven't exactly determined that, but we're very, very fair. And you know, if we change the offer, we'll let you know. We'll be incredibly transparent about that. And if you don't want to do it, we'll give you your money back. Okay? And Zivi says, does it make sense for someone like me to secure the spot now for the new future, that he doesn't have a product yet? So, Zivi, if you've already got some kind of business model in place, like your coaching, your consulting, anything else like that, and you anticipate launch, even if you don't have a product, I think it makes sense as long as you kind of have a sense of what your niche is, you have a sense of what your business is about. I don't recommend building a website before you know what your business is about. But if you have that sense, you've got a name for your business, you know what it's about, even if you're just starting, I know the site will work for you the right way, and you could push the start date a little bit out, but I wouldn't necessarily push it super far out. I do have a program called Message to Money if you're just getting started and you want to figure out what your business is about before doing something like that, and it's at messagetommoney.com. But if you know what your business is about and you just want to get off to the right start, then yes, absolutely, this is great for you. But if you don't know what your business is about, like you don't even know your industry, your business name, it's probably a little bit premature. All right, so Daniel says, could your offer work for a jewelry shop? So Daniel, the offer is primarily meant for people in a list build, call me, or authority model. So for example, if you're doing a lot of custom work, or you're more of like a high-end jewelry shop like a Tiffany's or something, then it could work. But if you want to sell like hundreds of products and hundreds of SKUs, then I would recommend a site just designed specifically as an e-commerce site. That's, of course, we do e-commerce because we sell stuff, but there's a difference between selling a handful of information products and selling thousands of kind of SKUs and offerings.
So there's Elaine there.
Okay, Elaine?
5 up or 6 up.
Okay. So Elaine says, we're not just choosing what we think is best for a site, so either call me or list build, but getting coached through that process. So Elaine, we do a number of things with the Take Flight Now platform. One is that I give you video trainings every step of the way. So you actually have me explain at each touch point. So say you're deciding on your colors. You'll have a video to listen to where I explain a little bit about colors, or you're deciding about your fonts. You'll have a video of me deciding on your fonts. And then after you go through each section, our coach reviews what you've done. So if they see that you've kind of made a mistake or you wanted to kind of ask them something before deciding, then yes, you can, they'll work with you to make sure you're making the best choice. But this isn't a coaching program. So if you don't know what your business is about, then, you know, we're not going to, you know, do all of the business strategy around your site to figure out your business model. We do have amazing coaches in this program. They will help you a lot. But we can't help you if you don't know what your business model is yet. We do, you know, have additional coaching. Like if you want additional support, you know, we can give you that. Like you can invest in more coaching sessions and things like that. But we definitely give you touch points along the way for coaching to make sure you're making the right choice in education and training each step of the way to really feel like, you know, you're making the right choices. So we do a lot to try to help you make the right decisions because obviously it's important. Okay? All right. So a lot of nice comments coming in.
Welcome to Nikki, Shelley, Angela, and Elaine.
Oh, great. Nikki, Shelley, Angela, and Elaine, welcome. So glad to have you as well. So next question, and a lot of just gratitude, which I appreciate. So we work really hard for these events, and not everybody realizes it, you know? So we really, really appreciate that. And Kathy says, when you say information product, do you mean info that's not written down, such as speaking, as opposed to information written on paper or even email? So an info product can be an ebook. An info product can be a video training course or an audio training course or multimedia training course. An info product is basically training based on information and knowledge, rather than like a physical product like a, you know, like a T-shirt that you send to somebody's door. Okay? So Diva says, or Deva says, does Take Flight Now help with getting the web pages online and hooked in with list servers like Aweber? So that's a really good question, Diva, and yes, it does. So we have an open API which means that we allow almost any service to plug into ours. So we can kind of, we are compatible with Infusionsoft and Aweber and GetResponse and Entreport and all the major services. So yes, for sure, we are compatible with all of them. So if you've got a list set up in Aweber, then you just have to provide the form code, and we can kind of plug that right in and style it however you want it to look, and that's great. So Heshi says, it does not sound like my order came through. So Murray will look at that for you in just a second and let you know, Heshi. So, okay, so I'm trying to get back to the questions, and sorry, usually there's a host to have it all ready.
Yes, Heshi, I'm sorry I did not announce you, but your order did come through loud and clear. We really appreciate it.
Okay, great. So Heshi, you are in. Really looking forward to working with you, and congratulations. And do remember, I don't know how long we'll be answering questions. I haven't gotten to a sense of how many questions there are left since Phyllis had to leave. But you do have until the end of the session to get my fast action bonus, which is, all 11 of our tweaks, all the ones that we taught today, plus all the ones that I didn't have time to teach. It's going to take me a week or two to put them together, to record them all, and just get my voice back. And I'm going to need to take a little break this weekend, as you can imagine, after 2 weeks of doing this. So, I will send that to you, even if you don't end up signing up with Take Flight Now and you just put down the deposit, have the phone call, and realize it's not for you. Okay? So, you were going to say something?
I was just going to confirm with Susanna. I believe we got your order.
Okay, Susanna, I think we've got your order. And Terry, Terry wants to know, in your blog, would you say that comment engagement is a first step to ask for rather than an opt-in sign-up? So I would say yes, comment and engagement, but I recommend being strategic and including opt-ins in your blog too. So you can include opt-ins at the end of your blog post. You can also include opt-ins in the sidebar of your post. So there's a lot of ways, as well as in that top header. So there's a lot of ways to incorporate opt-ins into your blog. So, if people are liking what they're reading, you're going to kind of draw them into your list as well. So, Deanne says, wow, these templates are worth tons of money. No designer gives away Photoshop files easily and for free.
I know, right?
Thank you for recognizing that.
Yeah.
We gave you a really big gift, and if you go to takeflightnow.com/gift, if you haven't gotten it yet, please wait to download the Photoshop files since they're bigger. But we've invested tens of thousands of dollars, probably more, hundreds of thousands of dollars at this point, in developing out those frameworks and those pixel grids and those templates and the strategies and all the different models that we've created. We actually gave you our full responsive Photoshop files for desktop, tablet, and mobile. It's huge value. You can get those done anywhere that you want. It will cost you more than what we're offering here, but you might already be working with someone. We just want to empower you. We want to make sure that you get online powerfully, whether we do it or somebody else does it, which is why we're giving that away as a gift for just showing up here today. So, and for everybody who filled out my survey as well, you'll be getting it as a gift as too. So, just so you know, we have given you a lot, and I hope you really go through it, because we've put just a lot into that for you, and want you to take away from this presentation and be able to take action. So next question is, Kathy says, I'm trying to figure out which template to use. I'm thinking call to action. I delimit astrology charts, write it out, as opposed to speaking. The one-on-one Q&A is included. Kathy, I'm not sure, because it sounds like you're I don't know which site you're building, so I can't exactly advise you yet. Okay.
SEO. Is the website set up for SEO?
Okay, good question. So Heshi says, is the website set up for SEO? Absolutely. We would never, ever, ever offer a website that didn't include something like SEO. Because SEO is just, you've got to be seen, you've got to be found. So yes, we'll incorporate SEO into your website. You'll be able to put in your page headers and things like that for sure. All right, so Donna wants to know if we will be able to build in ClickFunnels. So ClickFunnels is really a standalone service with standalone templates. So
you can add to the top, I guess.
Sorry?
You can add on to it, I guess.
Do you want to answer the question?
Okay, so Donna, great question. I believe ClickFunnels is a standalone service, as Marisa said, which builds out your funnel, your gift opt-in, your gift delivery, and all the pages and the systems associated with delivering those sorts of things. So I believe that you could probably use that as well as our service, but I'd have to investigate a bit further. But I see that you've joined, so fantastic, and that gives us a little bit of time to investigate and to come back to you with give us the weekend, and we'll talk to what's his name? ClickFunnels?
Russell.
Russell, yeah.
We'll talk to Russell's a friend of ours, so we can make a lot of things happen. We've got some good friends. All right. Aisha's saying that the video on our Take Flight Now order page is awesome, and that I did them at 6 a.m. Yes, I did do them at 6 a.m. So, and I
dragged her out of bed to record those videos.
Yeah, I think I look a little bit tired and not my best, and by the way, I got a big zit right now, and so I was like, oh no, I got a zit, and I've got to teach today on video. It's like the worst thing to have a zit, but whatever. This is just the way it works, and after 2 weeks, I just want to show up and give, and so hopefully, yes, not all of you were noticing my zit. It's a little bit embarrassing. Okay, so Bonnie wants to know, where are the Photoshop files? If you go to takeflightnow.com/gift, that's where you can get them all. Okay? So Lee says, I've only worked with WordPress. Will you have SEO and other things like that? Yes. So every single one of the conversion tweaks that we talked about today, micro conversions, SEO we didn't talk about because just because it's a little bit boring. But yes, we incorporate SEO. We incorporate any major functionality that you need to include in your site. That doesn't mean you're still going to need to have an email marketing service like Aweber or GetResponse or something like that, or Infusionsoft. You're going to need something like that because we don't to integrate with. But we incorporate any major functionality like social share bars, commenting. We host you for a year, so you don't have to worry about that. We incorporate all of that, so we give you a lot, and definitely the possibility for SEO.
Welcome to Jackie.
Welcome to Jackie. Is that our Jackie?
Jackie Litron.
Okay. All right. Okay, so Kathy says, I see the 3 options at the bottom of the list build. Is the list build template good for surveying to make sure I'm creating a product that people want? I guess it's the question, can you integrate a survey into a list build template? Yes, you absolutely can. So, for sure.
Melody had a question regarding URLs and redirection or pointing the domains to a new host. We'll be pointing your domain to a new host. So there'll be a little bit of setup required, but we have the personnel on board that can take care of it for you if you wish, or you can take care of that. But with the DNS systems that are around today, the updates take 10 to 15 minutes at the most, so your site shouldn't be unavailable for too long.
So Heshi is saying, will those of us working together be able to have a community through you? That would be awesome. Well, I don't see why we couldn't build like a Take Flight Now Facebook group. I can't promise that I can answer everybody's questions all the time, but if you guys want to bounce off of each other and share ideas, we can set up a Take Flight Now Facebook group for sure for you all, and work with each other, and for sure. Okay. That's a great question. Thank you for offering that. So am I missing anything else? Let's see. I think I've got just about everything. All right. I don't think I'm missing anything. Do you see anything? All right. And if you've got any lingering questions, ask them now, because we're going to go off. And if you've been waiting to hit that button to give us your deposit, I recommend doing it now, because we will be stopping by 3 o'clock. So the orders have to come in by 3 o'clock to get that extra fast action bonus. And do remember, it's a refundable deposit. So if you decide that it's not for you, no worries. You can refund, before or after the call, and you'll be good. And we'll still give you those videos for sure.
Did you talk about brand refreshing?
Brand refreshing, yes, I did.
Great.
Yep, I did talk about brand refreshing, that we'll be able to kind of refresh your brand on our sites.
There are people asking if they can pay us $97 to get all of the 11 tweaks as an info product.
You can pay us $97 to get all 11 tweaks, yes. if you do that just to get the tweaks and you have no intention to order the course, I just ask that you don't refund if you get a lot of value from it, because that's just kind of sleazeball. You know, to pay us, you know, then refund, and if you could just then say, look, don't want to take the phone call, I just wanted the 11 tweaks. So yes, you can pay us $97 and get 11 tweaks as an info product. So sure, why not? But yeah, just, you know, if you seriously intend to sign up for the Take Flight Now, or you're very interested and you want to have that discovery phone call, then, you know, yes, we'll give that to you regardless of whether you join or not, and we'll refund your money if you decide you don't want to. If you want just the tweaks and buy that as an info product, sure, go ahead and fill that out. Maybe, is there any way to put a note on it so we know that that's their intention?
I believe not.
Okay, so maybe somewhere on that field,
just drop us an email.
Yeah, drop us an email to support@liveyourmessage.com and just say that that's your intention. Okay?
Okay, Carol Coleman would like to know how easy it is to modify the site and the content after the site's delivered.
Yeah, super easy. It's actually easier even than WordPress. You just click and you type and you change, and it's as easy as that. You know, in terms of like completely redesigning the entire site, you know, we would probably have to work together on that, but it's pretty easy to refresh the brand. It's a lot easier than the way that Murray's like a technological genius, and the way that he's built this program, this platform to work, allows for very easy, dynamic refreshing. So we can't promise that we'll endlessly refresh your site once it goes live. You know, we will ask you to kind of upgrade, but it won't be that expensive, and we can do that. But in terms of editing content, super easy. You just log in and you type away. You click on what you want to edit and you edit it. If you want to change a photo on your site, you click on the photo and you change the photo, and it's really that easy. All right, and that's a great question.
Yes, Elaine, we got your payment. Thank you.
Oh, and Kevin says, this has been a great show. Marisa has over and over delivered once again. And Susanna says we should consider emailing the $97 offer for the tweaks, because a lot of folks asked about that and they've already left the call. So good point, Susanna, I guess. I didn't even realize we had an info product here. As you know, this webinar that I gave you, it was training. It wasn't just fluff or sales. So, So, Deanne wants to know, are you going to eventually offer your framework and hosting for license? So we've actually had a lot of questions from people about white labeling our system. It's a little bit too soon for us to answer that, but we've had a lot of requests already. You know, a lot of people who want to affiliate for this, a lot of people who want to, you know, white label this. So we're just going to circle back around with us in a few months. Our main goal right now is to really just over-deliver for all the people who just signed up today, and will sign up between now and Monday at midnight when we shut down this offer. So that's our main goal now, our exclusive focus. And once we see how those go, and if we keep having interest around kind of licensing and white labeling and all that, we'll come back to that, okay? All right, so I think we have pretty much gone through all of the questions.
We still have 198 people online. What are you all doing?
They like us. They really like us. So, which is good. So let me just go ahead and wrap this up. You know, take this party home. So let me just. Murray laughs at me. Sometimes he's like, "You're such a white girl." But I say, "Let's get this party started. Let's take this party home." You know, or I've got a really good song that I love called by Ozo Motley, and maybe I should play it. It's called "Donde Está el After Party." And let me see if I can play that. But let me first do our closing remarks, and they can end with a dance party on Donde Está el After Party. And the after party is on Facebook, our Facebook community page, our Facebook page, our Google Plus page. Murray, if you could drop those links in, I would really, really appreciate it. And let me just...
and welcome to... Luke, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. I'm really sorry. Luknia.
Awesome.
Diva and Ernest.
So welcome, Ernest, Lukmia, and Diva. Really, really stoked to have you. And you know, you've got just a couple more minutes
Mary.
And Mary, if you want to take us up on our $97 offer with the fast action bonus of our 11 website tweaks, the entire course, the entire transcripts, the entire audios and videos, and all of that. So. Wow, I can't believe it. These events are a lot of work, a lot of time and effort goes into this. So I just wanted to say thank you so much. Like, these events would be nothing without you. And for us to log on each day and see between 500 and 700 plus people come out just makes this all worthwhile, because we've done our part to try to bring on some of the best experts that we know, the 10 top online business superheroes that I know, to give you a huge amount of value and just really create an extraordinary experience for you. So thank you for coming out. Thank you for your love and your gratitude in the chat box. If you said a lot of nasty things in the chat box, well, we'll forgive you too. But know that we appreciate gratitude and support more than we appreciate kind of haters. So we've done a lot. We've given it to you for free, and we hope you've really enjoyed it. So if you want to sign up for Take Flight now, it's $97 for your deposit. It's totally refundable. You'll get some initial training for us. You'll get access, if you're setting up on the call live, to our 11 tweaks. If you're not setting up on the call live, you're still going to be immediately redirected to some homework, some content videos that I prepared for you. And you'll get more videos throughout the entire builder and platform. So we give you a lot of training to make sure that you're making the right choice. So we've created a really foolproof system. Also, a reminder that you've got until midnight tonight to grab the superhero pack at $147. It does go up to $297 at midnight. And we can't keep offering the bonuses for the Lisa Sasevich event ticket and the Don Crowther's event tickets, because we got to give them, like, you know, the list of people to send tickets to. Okay? So also one more reminder that Ryan Levesque's replay is that was Wednesday, right? Yeah. Ryan Levesque's replay is open until midnight tonight, and Michael's offer is open until midnight on Saturday night in his replay as well. And this particular one is open until midnight, or 11:59 p.m. Pacific on, let's say, on Monday night. I'm starting to get a little bit spun. So anyway, thank you so much for coming out. We're dropping our community links into the chat box. Please continue to take the dialogue, the party over to Facebook and Google+. It's been a really, really tremendous month, and I just wanted to thank you, 2 weeks, and to thank Murray, and to thank Phyllis and Tanya and Candace and everybody who supported us and everybody who turned out, and of course, big thanks to our 10 online business superheroes. And our next summit is November 10th through 21st. November 10th through 21st. It's the Author, Speaker, Coach Superhero Summit. So we've got a song to play for you. It's called Donde Está el After Party. So come on, play it. I don't know if we can hear it. All right. This is like the acoustic version of it.
Is it really?
Yeah, there's a more pre-recorded studio version that might be a little bit. Let me see if I can, because that would be really. Here it is. I got it.
Right.
I wonder if we'll ever have a party that lasts all night. There's a vibe in the city I've never felt before in my life. Let's all rush and flow, make a big time after show party. If we're gonna get it right, got to hold each other tight tonight. And the people of the world say, oh yeah, baby, oh yeah, mommy, ¿dónde está la after party? Oh yeah, baby, oh yeah, mommy, ¿dónde está la after party? You offered a ride, a pleasant
All right, that's enough dancing for now. So thank you so much for coming out. It's been an absolute honor to spend the last 2 weeks with you. Thanks for bringing your love, your energy, your brilliance, and you're fabulous. Go out there, live your message, do great things in the world, and we'll see you in November for the Author, Speaker, Coach Superhero Summit. Bye, everybody.